this dream, just you and me. It'll be beautiful.
Oh my.
Just you and me.
It's stage fright. Not the stream.
You can see that? Okay, whatever. Let's do that. Do that. Do media source? What's that? Oh, that's a local file. Fine. Delete. Delete that one. Okay. So, that one. That one.
All right. I have my tabletop RPG playlist to get me in the mood.
Nice. Edit transform. Crop bottom. Crop top. All of that out. All of that out. Position, alignment, center.
So apparently the problem on my end could be fixed if you switch the server to another region.
Okay, I can do that.
Do you want to give that a try?
Yeah, sure. Do it. Let's change it to west. Okay.
How's that?
Sounds okay.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Just went from 1 bar to 2. That's something.
Now race. Languages. That's a thing that I have.
We have an Airy. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, it's been so long. So guys, I'm going to tell you right now that Vet 7 is terrifying.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Not in the least.
I mean, it's full of Vesk, I assume, so it seems like a pretty bad place.
Yeah.
Not just like, I would literally prefer if we straight up attacked Vesk Prime over the place that I went to.
Brilliant.
I'm not even joking.
That's amazing. What is it even
What
called?
version of map tools are you using again?
The 152.
Glad you knew. I did not.
I just had to install it on the computer I'm
I
using.
think this is the one.
Yeah, it doesn't actually say it on the new one. So if it just says map tool, then I think you've got the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That's how I find it too. I'm always like, where's the number? And I go, yeah, that one doesn't have a number. It's totally that one.
Choose, change that to strength. He's a beefy
new
boy.
version is available?
Just say no. Ignore
it.
No.
Just ignore it.
Stop.
Yeah, I went on their site. I went on their site because I was curious, like, what the hell that's about. And apparently, they're really gearing up to release version 2.0. So they're pumped.
Hello.
Stupid.
Hey, my guy.
Hey, man. Okay.
Let's see if we can make server up yet.
Sorry?
Is there a server up yet?
Nope.
You know?
No, she's not here.
A new version of map tools is available. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Just said that. Stop
just
it.
went through that.
Keep doing it.
What are people playing? Iron Fang Invasion, Age of Chaos. Forest Beneath the World. Jar of Dirt.
Oh, yeah, right. I always forget you can connect to servers by.
I can just look at the thing and see what people are doing.
Yeah.
Rise of the Lagoon. Warhammer Fantasy, The Strangest Aeons. A lot of Pathfinder things being.
Someone's playing Age of Chaos on 1.3 B91. That's the old version.
That's like
Ooh.
one of the ones, yeah.
Let's add in.
Are you
We
looking
have- we
at
have,
public
uh,
servers and map tools?
We have
Yeah.
Viatoran 10 on 13B89. So
Wow.
yeah.
New weapons plasma, I think.
Hack Hideware.
Red Star.
Lions RPG server with no refunds.
Hmm.
Oh.
Huh.
Elder Scrolls, Pixel
Oh,
Horde.
someone's playing Rise of the Rune Lords.
You know, it had recently come out like as a one book
Yeah, the like mega
collectible
hardbound.
edition.
Yeah.
How does that have?
I mean, why not? Honestly,
I mean,
It
money.
was the very first one. Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it. Also, I know because I looked at these things online. Has for Rise of the Rune Lords, we can find map tools ready maps for every single encounter in the thing with tokens ready set. You just need to put stats on them.
Crazy.
So-
Wow.
Most of your work is already done if you choose to run that.
Wow.
But where's the fun
Someone's
in not
very
having to do any annoying work?
You know, just I was thinking, like, oh, if I just get
Huh.
to make that thing, so I can just import
Well,
tokens
that's
with
why.
SRD stats. I don't have to do anything. I can just lean back. Except when I looked at it, it was like 1 million people in Sandpoint, all detailed, and I was like, my
Aw.
god.
Sheep, that right there is why you're the DM for this company.
And that import tool for
Oh,
both of these
excellent.
is amazing.
Sweet. I forgot to
The
grab
best thing.
Azrael from. Oh,
Yeah, I don't have my token.
I was gonna say I just found
Hey,
mine.
chat.
I'm like in the middle of dark. So
Yes, I
hopefully-
will explain why they are hovering there in a moment.
Yeah.
No, just know that if it's gone, I don't have another one because I don't like
Yes,
Oh,
it's,
right.
the
it's,
other computer.
it's there.
Mhm.
it's
just
there and it's
Save
safe.
it.
I'm just
I
gonna-
also have backups from the from every session, pretty much, except last one because I apparently just overrode that like 2 minutes ago.
Well, we didn't level up last session, so
That is true.
did not.
it'll be fine. I'm just gonna save this so I have it. Go. Pretty help.
yeah, same.
Having a
So-
bit of map tool lag, but it really helps to have the sort of Ethernet connection.
So I don't know if y'all actually watch the stream, but I've got it up with new Hero Labs, and it's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I really like it. It's a bit
Mirror Lab
clunky.
seems nice. It's so expensive.
It is expensive.
I don't get to be a player enough to justify.
I got it for free, so
Oh, okay.
I got to
So I
go away with it.
I might as well say in public what I said to Helmir. I'm okay with you tracking your characters with different tools than the Google Sheets and different character sheets and whatnot, as long as you update the Google Sheet so it is
The same.
current between sessions, because I do need to look at those, especially your equipment and whatnot. It is very important.
They should all match up now.
That's the weird thing. I bought a new gun and I'm down in money because I sold some of my old stuff for less than it's worth.
Hmm.
Okay though, it's okay. I need a power armor at some point. I mean, that thing's gonna
Oh, I haven't.
hurt up the cost.
Almost there.
I haven't even added the money we got last session. I guess I should do that.
Oh, I did because we had time to craft fusions because they take like 4 hours.
I spend all
Yep,
of it.
but I have a spear.
Yeah, you can
good
but-
point.
cold on it, I guess.
I have a fusion in it.
Hmm.
Oh, how much was it? It has to go back. Got it.
So if I click on play here, which is really cool, I can like do all sorts of things now, including like this. I think this is a really good tool for if you don't have map tools, because it does rolls for you, which are real nice.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it in the stream.
It's cool, right?
I mean, I don't know. It looks pretty.
It's real pretty. But like if I rolled, say my magma blade, it asks me what roll I want to do with it. So say melee attack. I rolled a 10 and it shows what I rolled and then what my plus is to equal the 10. And I can roll the damage afterwards and it shows me everything that it's done.
I mean, the idea is probably to have people use it on their tablets and such.
Yeah, I think so.
At sessions.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad to be in an actual session and no one rolls dice.
I know.
I like dice.
I like my dice.
That's a
I mean,
cool-
it does speed things up because you don't need to do any math. But as long as you note down your modifiers on a sheet, like, it's not rocket science to, like, roll a dice and then add +9 or whatever.
It's true.
No, it's great.
But this is coming off of the back from, like, Starfinder, a Pathfinder even, where it gets stupid. And I
Dice
have
are
all
great.
my shit here.
I mean, Laurel had a spreadsheet that was extensive.
I don't know. I mean, I'm the kind of person who thinks that, like, you don't even need a huge automatic character sheet for things like Shadowrun because it's actually not that complicated. But I think, like, the majority of people disagree.
I just can't be bothered. Like, it's so much work to.
Yeah.
Like this Google sheet, it works. It's good enough. It is, there's some stuff that's not in it,
Do you
but that's
need
fine.
more than that? I mean,
No, I'm good with it. It's good.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm like, I don't know that I do.
Okay. Oh. Stop. There we go. So it's actually a bit slow because I'm obviously streaming. So it hurts that. But it's cool. I like it. Let's head over to map tools instead.
That's like a modern first world problem. My character sheet is lagging.
Yeah. Sorry, my online character sheet is lagging because I'm uploading at like 2500 bits a second. Kilobits a second, yeah.
The world's crazy. We gotta have some escapism.
Yeah, it's true. Depresses me, Manikai.
You know.
The world depresses me.
Yeah.
I think it should depress everybody, right?
Anger them.
Hey, Valky in the chat. Sorry you couldn't make it. Doing your wonderful things. Are we ready?
I think we might be.
Yeah.
Is everyone here? Seraph?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I
Well,
think we can have a recap.
okay. Yeah, so session 7 was almost a month ago. So I spent a little bit of time today watching session 7 to give us a bit of a recap. It's not going to be quite as slapped together as my last one because I'm actually prepared. But here we go.
The last one was so good.
The last one was epic. But basically, after we told the dragon no to entering our like AI core, she tried to bribe us, which obviously we weren't cool with. She was a bit like vague for a while, and we kept on being like, no, we like our sponsors. She didn't quite get it because she was trying to offer us lots and lots of money. But we sort of figured that, you know, an empire is worth a lot more than whatever she can offer. So we fought her. She fought us. She smacked us around. She knocked Zachariel down twice. And Valky's character brought him up twice. But we also kicked her ass as well. Basically came down to a stalemate where she wanted to coup de grace Zachariel, and we didn't want that. So we agreed to dislike each other and go our separate ways. And she left. So we carried on what we were going to do before we were so rudely interrupted by rude white dragons. And that was to investigate the signal of a sort of battery that one of our sponsors is really interested in. He sent us the coordinates, or sent us the signal. We followed it. Signal signature. We followed it, and we arrived in a fleet graveyard, as it were, where some fleet action had occurred. Half a dozen swarm ships were laying around, discarded, dead, and 3 or 4 dozen other ships from the Pact Worlds or the Vesk were damaged and left for scrap. We encountered a Vesk salvage ship, which was very interested in stealing everything, and we weren't really interested in that. We just wanted to look at this one particular ship that our scanners narrowed down to. After some discussion, he basically left us alone, because we really didn't want anything other than this ship. So we had a look. We couldn't find what we were there to find. It seemed like it had left. It was on a swarm ship, so presumably the hive mind collected it before they left. Whatever happened. So we reported back that we found the location of the signature, but no device was at the source, which isn't great. So we went onwards to our next objective. We went to Detritus, the home of the I forget their name. Basically, they're
Voyokos.
Voyokos, yeah, that's it. They're eel people. Some are surfaces, some are shallow waters, some are deep waters. The Vesk have taken over this planet by force, but there is a deeply ingrained resistance deep under the water, as the Vesk find it very difficult to really fight under there, being used to void or space combat, where your ships are designed for pressures pushing outwards into space, not pressures pushing inwards onto the ship. Two different engineering ideas there. But where they couldn't crack them quickly, they had to leave something to enforce their rule upon this resistant planet. And to do that, they left one of their top class battleships, like a gargantuan dreadnought of destructive power. And as it would turn out, the guy running it really doesn't want to be there. He's missing out on the action in honorable combat because he's stuck on this piece of crap in this piece of crap orbit around this stupid water planet that he bombards every now and again. But we needed to get onto the planet. We could go through all of the scanning and checks that the Vesk could put us under. That didn't seem ideal. Or we could sneak in. However, if we were going to be caught, we didn't want Zlazlak to be taken, killed, or worse, experimented on. So we told him to stay and float around, have a nice time out in space, and not crammed in effectively a locker. And we decided that we would sneak in. After some good and dubious rolling, we managed to sneak through the defenses. And as the Vesk on the ground just assume if you get past the dreadnought, then you're obviously okay. They didn't really care what we were doing there. They just directed us where we could go, and asked what our intentions were, but it didn't really seem like they cared very much. So our next conundrum came up, is how do we get in contact with a resistance that is underwater? There's obviously underwater vessels. The Vesk have military ones that a few, but they definitely have some. The civilians have some, presumably, but they wouldn't be able to fight off the more than likely leviathans that live in the sea that is the planet. So yeah, we need to find a way that we can get down there safely to the resistance. But the other problem is finding the resistance. We have no idea where they are, and the sea's big. So we needed to find somebody in the city that we landed upon. The city ripped away from where it would float as the tide takes it, powered by solar energy, and was dragged to the closest thing that you could call a shore, and anchored there so that the Vesk could keep it in one place just in case. Also doing a typical Vesk thing and stripping everything that wasn't vital in terms of the power systems. So Zachriel went off to see who he could fight in the resistance, and he found a lovely guy that I didn't note down the name of, in like a bar, I think it was, and they talked. They sort of sparred in vocal ways, trying not to give too much information, but also giving a little bit to say that we're cool, but we're not. You might not be cool, but I hope you're cool. I went around a few times, and then eventually it sort of came to light. And as Zachriel was going to leave, the guy he was talking to puts down a napkin that has some water on it in the shape of a name of a ship that I haven't scrolled through our discussions of, but it was like the flagship for the Empire, as well as wavy lines above it, which could be a good indicator. Meanwhile, XK went shopping with very little money, and it was fun. That was pretty much it, I think.
Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, I also believe
Yeah.
that Lorelia and Haya went to put up a little like medical stand on a corner somewhere,
Yeah.
offering their services, and were approached by a group of 3 Voyagers who seemed to have approached them mostly to make trouble, but after a short talk left without really doing anything. They'd accused the 2 of being tourists rather than helpers. Is there anything else? As for the name of the Voyager Zachriel spoke to in the bar, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if he had a name. If
I
he
don't
did,
think so.
I don't remember it.
But let's call him Tender. Works.
And sure.
His family has run this thing for years.
His name is Bartender.
Sure. All right, I'll note that down. Yeah, he also said that, Zachriel offered to be there to help, and he said he might send some people around that could use that help at some point.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult to find where you can be found, after all, considering you have a, by definition, huge ship parked right next to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the
Hospital
city, speaking of this hospital ship, yeah. Speaking of the city, there were questions why your tokens are just floating in the void on map tools. That's because I felt like last session we were missing a map. And while making a map for a city is not a project I will ever tackle in detail, I made something that is hopefully visually helpful. Basically, the colored blobs are roughly how you could divide up the city. There are no actual districts, but you'll definitely see a change in people, as well as in what's the word? In general, organization of the city as you walk from one of those areas into the other. Also down here are the floating landing platforms for spaceships. Yes, some of the smaller ones, especially in the northeastern landing platforms, are used on occasion. Shuttles, some Vesk shuttles, some other miscellaneous ships that you can't really see the identity or purpose for from a distance. And of course, towering over most of them, your ship. There are like bridges, like floating bridges, like a dock going to each of them. I just didn't put them on the map yet. The districts, roughly in description, even though they have no name, the blue district is where most of the people in the city appear to live in the different layers of the ring of the city. It's not slum-like necessarily, but borderline. It's incredibly overcrowded, and people, while they seem to be okay, supplied with the things you need to, survive, food and such, mostly seem like they have very little to do, hanging around in the streets and just crowding everything, really. The green bit, similar situation, a lot of people. That's seems to be where most of the markets and such have found their location, as well as bars and such. Everywhere you can go to, spend your money that you might have. And most of the businesses and bars and such, however, aren't as full. Not because people don't want to go there, but perhaps because they can't afford to go there. Zachriel, the bar where he was, noticeably rather empty, despite there being a lot of people outside. The light blue area is the nicer bit of the city, really. The way the city is sort of wedged on top of the land, it's also the most, what's the word? Not balanced, the most, like, the blue and red area especially are very
Stable?
slanted. Stable, yeah. It's the most straight. Like the blue area, a lot of the lower layers especially are underwater, as the entire city is sort of slanted that way. The blue area, you don't really notice that much. You don't roll across the street, you can walk across the street, basically. There's a lot fewer people and noticeably more Vesk patrols. The people there also don't seem to mind the Vesk patrols as much. They don't hide in their little corners and alleys when they approach. Although, well, they seem to tolerate, perhaps accept them a little bit more. That's quite obvious as you explore around there. The black area is probably not something you've actually properly entered, mostly seen from a distance, as that is really heavily Vesk controlled, with even fewer of the Voyokans actually living there. Perhaps none, actually. All the Voyokans you can see in that sort of area, towards that area, appear to be dressed in similar uniforms as the Vesk themselves, standing at what must be some sort of checkpoint, controlling the exit of the city towards the land. And the red area is not really something that you can traverse easily. It is where most of the city's weight rests on the land, which has caused much of the structure to just crumble and collapse. It's still in okay shape, but there's like holes in the walking floors and almost cliffs where part of the city just got ripped off its like structural supports and is just dangling. It's not really inhabited from what you can see. Although there are noticeably Vesk patrols making their way across the ruined pathways and such.
Foul Vesk.
The land, worth noting, isn't really... It's not much land. It's a thin strip of barren rock and mostly sand and gravel, really, with the only noticeable things on there being the Vesk military outpost where the Vesk appear to live. There don't seem to be any actually living in the city.
Interesting. I'm just going to quickly grab my stacks.
Updated my token. This city. Once such a magnificent place. Unique culture. Now it's beached. Like a whale slowly dying. If only Zachariel knew what a whale was. Lisa doesn't have him. This place probably has some horrible monsters.
Has Zachariel ever been here on Detritus before? Or is that
Don't
like his
think-
first time?
I don't like. He was like, what, like 12 or something when they left. I mean, maybe he's been visiting once. Maybe, I mean, it makes sense. He's the crown prince. He probably had to like travel around every so often with his father on like this like trip around the system, right? Like technically, it doesn't take that long. Though it does take quite a long time if you don't have drift travel. You know.
Traveling in the system
Yeah. That's
without
actually
drift
pretty
travel
cool.
isn't. It's basically the same
Mhm.
time
So-
span.
Yeah, so given that it's not that long, he most definitely would have visited each of the planets, probably the major settlements, but probably not enough to explore them at all. Like it was all very like imperial visit, right? Like people lined up and like father shakes hand with the mayor, or
Yeah.
imperial knights like lined up with banners across the roads, and like his like teacher asking like, do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? And he's supposed to answer like, oh, this person completed the solar arc on the third like floating city and made new discoveries in how to use plants as a local source for medicine. Stuff like that. So he probably has been, but not in a way as it is now. His memories are probably almost perhaps a little too grand for the reality that is, because he only saw things when they were at their sort of grand.
Yeah, but perhaps back then the city even seemed a lot larger than it actually is. It's still a massive construction, like multiple kilometers across. But it's an interesting realization that you could fit a lot of the people here in your current ship if you squeezed a bit. Like, not the entire city or even like a quarter of the city, but it would be realistic to carry everyone somewhere else in like 10 to 20 trips.
You'll note that very specific bit of information, yeah. So you don't really find out that a knight actually worked on making these cities airborne.
Got giant thrusters on the bottom.
Oh my god, that would be great. These big UFOs just rising up.
Well, Vesk. Ram you.
They're actually
Yeah,
like gun toting as
Yeah,
well.
he is, however, happy to be amongst his people. Probably also a little bit impatient because he wants to help, and it's almost like every minute he isn't there for the people here. It's like he doesn't feel like he can do anything that doesn't feel kind of like a waste of time if he's not helping.
So I think last time we basically ended the session in like the late afternoon, early evening, around that time. In game, that is, not in real life. Which, let's see. Okay, that's one thing I wanted to do. With XK walking around, looking at the different shops by himself,
Mhm.
you do notice, despite your insight check last time, that a lot of people seem to be giving you a wide berth. Especially the few children you can see in the distance quickly either get hurried away by their presumably parents or caretakers or whatever. And yeah, it's quite comfortable for you walking even through the most overcrowded of sections that XK stumble into.
Oh, they're so nice. They're moving for you.
He knows
with
what's
your
really
inside rolls,
happening.
you're like, oh, that's
Yeah, very polite.
very police,
He knows what's happening. He's been to cities before. Zachary always tells him it's nothing. But he knows the truth. And it
It's
makes
really
him
because of his
sad.
body odor.
He does, however, notice one particular Voyokan who does not seem overly bothered by his large and impressive form. From a distance, it seems like it's in fact a she, and a very old one at that. One of the Voyokans with like a face that looks like if you took both hands and just squeezed your face into different like folds. Like a dried out squished eel, you know. Yeah, I think that's a good picture. She actually, you can sort of notice her gazing intently as XK walks past, and she sort of waves at some point, sort of presumably a gesture to get his attention and get him to come over to her.
Oh, he would have walked over to her before even passing her. Someone
Yeah,
that's
sure.
not afraid of him? God. Crazy.
She is noticeably smaller than most of the Voyokans you see, mostly because she seems to be rather on the old side, you know, crooked back. And now that they're closer, you can actually see that she doesn't seem to wear the same sort of synthetic linen-like cloth that most of the clothing for the Voyokan seems to be made of, but rather something that looks like you take a bunch of wet leaves of some wheat or something and just squeeze it together into, well, something textile-like, perhaps. It's still in the same style as the other clothing, just the material is noticeably different. She smiles at XK as he approaches and says, in Voyokan, does XK speak Voyokan?
No.
Okay, then you can just in the strange, perhaps a little garbled language of the eel people, say a few words. Presumably, well, actually, give me an insight check,
Inside.
or perhaps culture. I think would be more appropriate to try to figure out roughly, maybe what she means.
Come on.
Culture, I can do a little bit of that. Meh.
11. You don't really know, but it doesn't sound threatening. Perhaps a sort of greeting, although it's quite long-winded for that. She must be saying something else, but you don't know. She certainly seems, or most definitely does not seem to be afraid of XK. She even takes like a step forward and just sort of pokes at him slightly. More for curious poking rather than aggressive poking.
He'll say in Celestial, do you speak the old tongue?
She does not seem to understand. She sort of keeps mumbling, perhaps now to herself and more to fill the lack of conversation between the two of you, as she too realizes that you can't actually understand her. Before she waves towards the open door behind her.
XK will head in. She seems nice. What possibly could go wrong?
Zachary will gone too.
How have we not lost you yet?
You're here.
The room or building or something that she leads you into seems to be a small, like, living unit, perhaps. Not really a huge place to live in, but from a cursory glance, it might have once had all the things you need to survive well. There's like rusted remains of what might have once been a shower in a corner, and one of the cabinets appears to have some sort of cooking unit integrated on top. But more noticeably, most of that, previously metal high-tech stuff, completely covered in just almost random knickknacks. And as you step in, you quickly notice that the floor, which was previously like metal grate, presumably carpeted maybe at some point, is covered in a thick layer of sandy mud. Especially, imagine a sandbox after a rainstorm. It's wet, it's squishy, it's not maybe unpleasant, although I don't know if XK has a concept of, warm, wet mud on your feet.
Yeah, he's got sensors. Oh, man. Oh.
It's certainly very different from the metallic surfaces in the rest of the city. And the room itself seems to be covered with a lot of knickknacks, like bottled plants and little vials with water and some sort of maybe small preserved creatures in them. There's strings of like seaweed just sort of hanging off shelves, presumably perhaps to dry or just as decoration, who knows. It looks old school, like antique perhaps. And really the only piece of actual technology, although most of it would not be working well anymore with the lack of power in the city, seems to be the small stovetop on one of the cabinets where she has a few pots and pans and such. She sort of gestures to one of the more or less empty areas in the small room and sort of points at the floor. Like, it's just a brief gesture, sort of, pointing at XK then at the floor before she messes with pots and pans for a bit.
Sure, he'll sit down.
Yeah, you sit down in the mud, sort of squishing it all over the place. Turns out the room is fairly small considering how large XK is. He takes on most of it, really.
As it turns out, I'm waterproof, so I'm pretty okay. He doesn't mind.
She seems to empty one of the bigger vials standing on top of one of the shelves into a pot, and heats it up fairly quickly. Taking the liquid, putting it into two mug-like things, a few leaves of some sort in both of them, before realizing that maybe she didn't need to make two of them, as she looks at XK being a robot, but she pretty much offers one of them to him anyway.
Oh, he'll drink it. He's capable of drinking. He's capable of eating and drinking. He just doesn't need to. So he'll happily accept it and sip away.
She seems rather happy with that, actually. Also, give me an insight.
Insight or culture?
Insight. Sense motive.
Oh, sense motive.
Hmm, 15. To XK, it sort of appears that drinking the sort of tea equivalent, I suppose, didn't just make her happy that you accepted the gesture, but rather made her slightly more confident, perhaps?
Okay.
As she continues talking about really things you can't understand, but she seems really into explaining something, whatever it may be. Before she sort of smooths an area in the floor, almost creating like a canvas, before she draws symbols into it, talking all the while she does so. In addition to just dragging her fingers through the sand rather deftly and sort of like brush strokes almost, she also grabs a couple of the smaller vials of the shelves and such, and uses whatever sludge she has in them to color some of the little dents and symbols she draws into the sand. And the things she draws are as follows. She arranges 6 symbols roughly in the shape of a hexagon, very roughly, One of them is a swirl that she colors green. She talks quite a while about that. Before, on the furthest distance you could draw a symbol in a hexagon, she draws another swirl going the opposite way that she doesn't color but rather fills with a bit of water from one of the vials. In two other spots of this hexagon, she puts one vertical line that she colors yellow, one that she colors red, and the last two spots are a wavy horizontal line that she colors deep blue, and the other is the top half of a circle, like, an arc, that she colors a light blue.
The fastest I've taken notes ever.
I don't even mind giving you, it's
Oh,
going to be
I've written it
formatted
down.
terribly, but
Yeah, I wrote it down. Okay. Okay. I mean, he's paying attention. Maybe... Do our comm units have, like, a camera? In, like, part of it? Because, I
I
mean...
actually checked that recently, and the answer is no.
Ah, okay.
I mean, we would probably just think you were at some street booth anyway.
Hmm.
Like, oh, XK is having fun. Look, he sent a picture over of some local artist that's
Yeah,
painting swirls.
but that's okay. You can make a note of it. Like I have. I mean, he listens intently, even though he doesn't know what she's saying.
Yeah, the woman, the very old woman, talks for an astounding amount of time about things. Maybe one thing, maybe many things, who knows?
Zachriel once told him that the old people have much wisdom to give, if only you would listen. He's still not quite sure about it.
Does he have a recorder at least in
Exactly. I'll
his
try to teach him
computer?
Vericon, but you know.
I mean, I don't know. Does my comm unit have a recorder?
Trying to check what exactly communists have in them, but it's such a vaguely explained thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Everyone
It's
has an
like I have
iPod.
my MP3 from like
What can it
15
do?
years ago and it could record, but who knows? It's Starfinder, so.
I mean, to be fair, it's integrated into me, so...
No, I feel like a spear could record.
Yeah. It's like one of those spy pens where you can press a button to record your spy spear.
XK
so
just
useful.
clicks like a button on the side of his head where his ears would be. Oh yeah.
I mean, it might be one of those situations where is it more interesting if it can or not?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know. When you go here, you will release the hell devil that stores beneath the waves. I mean, then maybe not, because you might not do it.
Maybe not.
Comm units. A personal comm unit is a pocket-sized device that combines a minor portable computer and a cellular communication device. It also includes a calculator, a flashlight, and several entertainment options.
Oh my god, it has
You can
games
stream
on
from your
it?
comm unit.
Yeah. But they
Snake.
do not have any explicit recording devices listed, so I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Gotta download that app once you get back to Wi-Fi.
Would it have been able to record, or would I have been able to call someone before I entered?
Sure.
And then, like, maybe I call Zachriel, like a preceding text saying that he should listen in, because I don't know what this lady is talking about.
Okay, I mean, Zachriel's probably. I mean, he probably didn't stay at the bar for like forever, right? So he's probably just going
Walking
around
through.
monuments and like fretting and wishing he could have done something.
Hmm.
And then he sees a call from XK, and we'll see it's like a message, and then he'll pick it up and like listen, thinking that maybe there's like a hostage situation or something terrible going on.
It's
Yeah.
just him having tea.
You get a phone call that's
I'm
like,
so jealous.
I need you to stay on.
Yeah, and just listen.
Okay.
It always makes you a little nervous when someone.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you do it. Right?
Yeah, I suppose, considering it's integrated into XK, but I would say it's not obvious that he's calling someone.
He's on the
Nothing.
phone. So rude.
It's not like I have to put up my fingers and like my finger and thumb to my head.
Dial
Yeah.
one. No.
Oh yeah, like one of those ratchet phones.
Yeah.
Takes it
He
on
just
his
has to make this loud.
Has to put in like $1 too.
I wonder where they go. It's so weird.
Yeah.
He's
So
just saying to himself, making the ringtone.
that means Zachary can listen into some of it. The reception might not be the greatest, but you can make out the gist of what she's explaining.
They're just
I'll
a little
just
out.
give you-
I'm probably getting a lot of this out
When
of context.
I was a young eel,
roughly what she's explaining to XK is, or at least the things she is roughly saying is that like I'm not gonna do it in character because that would take forever to do it again. But Zachary would roughly think that she is explaining some of the power structures acting within the city. The symbols, each representing a faction that she has some idea about, as well as something else that she seems rather intent in telling XK about in the bestest of tones, which is that there's an area that might only be reachable by metal men deep inside the ocean, in the deepest depths, past the cities of the Deepborn, where even the metal suits and metal vessels would crumble, but a metal man might not. And it might be the answer to the occupation of this planet, as there's something that has always been a part of this planet, and perhaps has lived here longer than the Voyokans have. If it were approached, perhaps it might also agree that this planet should not be conquered and controlled by anything that is remotely Vesk-related, or, well, controlled by anything, really. So that should be an option to consider above the borderline feuding resistance groups that exist within the city between the Deepborn and the Floatborn. She's very rambly, but that seems to be the gist of it.
I promise this time it won't be a feather.
Yeah. I mean, can you try to do a sense motive check through a phone? He just wants to make sure we're not dumping XK in some random ass crab hole.
Into like a
in
trench.
the Earth crust.
Into
Like, well,
Mariana Trench.
You guys, 10.
It might be the distortion of like the call. It might be the woman herself, but she has that sort of rambly tone of voice that makes you borderline think she's crazy. This is like the tone of a prophecy she's sort of pulling out of her butt.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
She seems borderline senile.
You could understand that with a 10. Oh my god.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, you can probably talk to XK. Basically, we'll tell XK what he can understand. We'll ask XK if he can like somehow ask for like a map or you know.
Um, can I try and like gesture for a map, or maybe pull out, I don't know, like a data pad with like I don't know, I guess
Google Maps on it.
yeah, like Google Earth. um, I don't know. There must be a way. What tech way can I ask for a map, or non-verbal way?
Oh, I'm sure there's a skill for dealing with languages.
Probably culture, I'd imagine.
Probably makes sense.
Sure, culture.
Let's see if I can roll. Okay,
Mime.
not bad.
Yeah, you managed to sort of perhaps remember the local gesture for a map, maybe even sort of pronounce the word map more or less correctly. She like briefly blinks, basically shutting up from a eternal monologue for just a second. Before she smiles slightly and launches into a more intensive series of words.
Oh Jesus.
Sure tries to keep up.
The gist of it, with Zachriel still listening, is that she doesn't know exactly where that is. She just knows of it and knows that it is a solution. But it would be past the Deepborn's largest city. So you would have to find a way to get the location of that from them.
Okay.
Though you might not want to tell them why exactly you're looking for it, as they are not exactly on board with all that.
Okay. Well, why not?
It is the Leviathan said to destroy all of the Deepborn that have ever lived. Oh, wipe them from the deeps.
I mean, that would not be good, right? Like,
No.
I guess we'll keep it in mind.
I don't know. This bitch be crazy, man.
Yeah, you're not on board with the crazy old woman.
I mean, I usually am, just out of principle, you know. But I don't know. I don't like the idea of dropping our one killer robot into the water alone.
I
But he
mean,
can go talk to the Leviathan.
yeah.
Yeah, that he probably can't understand.
Well,
I don't know that a Leviathan needs language. I feel like a Leviathan
I don't.
always he wakes up.
Tries
and
to
then
kill
dies.
him because it wakes up or something, and then he.
Is that real? Can you think back? Is there any? Does he know any like when this planet was like contacted and floating cities and such were built solar power? Was there any? Like what was there any like horrible Leviathan that was like, hey, you can't come here and think you could rule this place?
Give me a culture check.
Did we have like a hero who laid a monumental beast to sleep?
Entombed it.
20.
20. I mean, there's certainly big things in the oceans of this planet. That's no surprise at all. But you wouldn't know of any, like, how to phrase it? Nothing sentient? Like, nothing, like, I'm the ruler of this planet? No, nothing like that.
So not like a mind flayer hive or something.
Not that you know of.
Aboleth, that's the thing, right? Aboleth. Okay. All right. Well, if it exists, it existed. Like we came here many years ago, so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all up for it. Send me into the trench. Let me speak to.
We'll keep in mind for when we go there. I mean, and these swirls. Turns out it kind of looks like the city, right? Do I get to that?
Swirls?
Blue line. There's like a red line. There's a yellow. I don't know what. Vertical yellow.
Swirl going the so the swirl color's green. A swell.
I can already tell you that's a coincidence. I chose the colors for the city because they are visually distinct, not because they have meaning.
Yeah.
Okay.
A swell going the opposite way, so maybe I don't know. The bottom, the swell going the opposite way, she fills with water, but the other one she colours in green, so maybe symbolise like I don't know. Vertical
Maybe I
line,
should draw it out.
vertical line in red.
I feel like that'll be here.
Yeah.
Shoreline.
Yeah. Interesting.
Green. And
Oh, but
what is it? Why I feel. So a swirl is like a spiral, yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Is it one?
It's probably like a passphrase or something that, like, once you have more context, you'll understand.
Vertical line
do it
in
that way.
yellow.
Maybe it's like the gate.
Yeah.
Is the yellow and red line in between the two, or is it after?
I think they're on
Is it
they're on
sequential?
the sides, I guess.
I can draw it roughly. I'm not gonna do the colors, but you can imagine them. I'm gonna do it over here. So it's like oh, that's way too fat.
Top half of a circle.
It's like a swirly here that goes this way.
Top half a circle, so like a semicircle.
Another swirly here.
Flip pen
You've
now.
got these two like hexagons. Difficult. But like this. No, that's wrong. That one is there. Like this.
Someone take a screenshot.
All right. Yeah, that's just nothing. I
Light blue.
have no idea what that means.
Oh no, this is a deep blue as well. This one might be red, and this one might be yellow. What if?
I could consider that forever, but
Yeah, it could. We could go around in circles for years.
I mean,
Sacriel,
a
can
very
he,
horizontal line in deep blue. That must be
Sacriel,
water.
can he would like to? Can he just like speak to XK, and like ask XK to point at each of the things, and like question what it is.
Teach me what
It's like-
is in Wayakon.
Like point and be like, what is this? And then hopefully Sacriel will understand the word that is set back.
Could try it.
He probably looks
can.
like a crazy person to people watching him.
Well, he's on the phone.
Is XK trying to hide the fact that he is being directed to point at things?
I mean, Zachariel's not telling him which one to point at.
Yeah, but is he trying to hide the fact that he is trying to get more information to be relayed to someone else?
I think he's too honest to actively hide that. As a player, I would love to say yes, but XK's
Fair.
too honest. He wouldn't hide it.
Then you sort of see her like look at your gesture with a bit of a frown before sort of shaking her head and speaking another whole lot of words, which Zacriel can understand as, no, this is for you. This is for you.
Okay.
If there is someone listening, then he should make his way here so I can look at it. However, this is for you, and I will not explain exactly what you're looking for. That is part of the test.
Okay.
I still. What's the address? Everybody's to paste back and forth.
XK's got like the Find My Friends app on. so Zacriel can follow the dot on the map. But he will like gesture for a apology.
Send him a pin.
Zacriel will think about sending a message to here and L'Orelia, but he's like, I mean, he doesn't want to bother them. You know, they already do so much for him.
And
They'll be
this
happy
lady's
enough
nice.
knowing that he's going to meet this lady.
Huh.
Then he'll try to go to that place.
All right.
There should be like a thank you. I don't know. There should be like universal sign language. Everyone should have.
Sure.
You know, it's almost like basic exists or like common or whatever.
Yeah, but she's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose the city is structured well enough. You can't really get a GPS on XK. That's not really how this works. But with a little bit of time and looking around, you can find the place. But perhaps XK even waits outside. He's visible enough.
Yeah. He like looms outside the door. Just look for where the crowd parts.
As Zacriel approaches, you can see the old Voyakin lady that I wish I had a token for, but there's only one Voyakin picture in total on the entire internet.
There is.
Take pictures of eels.
Just actual eels.
Wow.
You can see her with a crooked sounds like nodding in thought as Zacriel approaches as she mumbles, "Oh yes, that makes sense."
Zacriel raises his hand in universal greeting and it's close. You know, turning off his phone. And now that he's close.
XK will ask Zacriel to introduce both of us in Voyakin.
He speaks it. Probably accented, you know, as he didn't learn it from
The
the native.
posh accent.
You know, of the Aeson Empire, but you know, probably also a little broken because he hasn't used it forever. But yeah, he'll introduce himself in XK, you know, as Zacriel, and my friend companion XK.
She returns. Old names don't mean much to me. I will forget them anyways. And it was quite obvious that this metal man here was not with the Vesk. He was wandering about looking at things rather unusual for a mindless automaton, which means he isn't one. Am I right? Obviously. We've talked for hours, and I would have hated to realize that I've wasted it on something that doesn't even listen.
You know, Zacriel says he is not mindless, far from it. He is a very intelligent being, entirely autonomous on his own.
And obviously from here, too.
I will not, figuring that here means like this system.
Maybe she means here. Who knows?
Yeah, he doesn't know. It's not something he would begin digging into.
No.
Well, he nods.
She pretty much stares at Zacriel, not really saying much. which is quite unusual in XK's eyes, as she did not shut up one bit when it was just him.
Say that XK has been outside of the system for almost his entire existence, and so he has not learned the languages of the people here, of his people.
I'm gonna put that next level. Put a point of culture in, and he's gonna use this as a learning experience for Oyakin.
Zachriel says that he has been trying to. They've been working on it, but for now, Zachriel generally acts as a translator for him.
She nods. It is a strange world where the metal man has to be translated for by, something with flesh. A shame, really.
And says that that he doesn't. He tries not to think of XK as a He tries to think of him as any other living being rather than as a specifically a machine.
Oh, but it is a great advantage not to be ignored.
True. That's why people seem so afraid of XK.
Well, it should be quite obvious. The Vesk too have metal men, however they are mere automaton. And if you are so used to being looked down upon by things that look armed, well, they will most likely think that he too is just yet another of the Vesk's attempt at instilling fear in people. And I think he is succeeding at that, even though he has nothing to do with the Vesk at all.
Shakes his head at this despicable thing.
Despicable indeed, although one has to give the Vesk credit for how enduring they are.
Yeah, enduring indeed. Yet also almost criminally foolish in that they have taken much of what makes our worlds, what they are, and left them, he suggests out like this. Worlds that could have been so much greater has been reduced to this so that they can control them. What little value they might still receive from them is surely, well, ideally not worth their trouble.
Oh, it hasn't been worth the trouble for years at this point. They are, if you look at it from an economic standpoint, taking a massive loss with this place. The people here produce nothing of worth anymore. They are just cooped in their little cages, kept given enough to survive, but not enough to thrive. And the Vesk are merely here because, well, they refuse to lose. I will tell you right now that the Vesk, while patient for so many years, well, I suspect their patience is wearing thin. And if they cannot win, well, they will find a way not to lose.
Two frowns. It sounds ominous.
Oh, it should sound ominous, because it is. I don't know the details, of course. I just listen to the pulse of the city, the people, and such. I know that something is coming, and I know that others who are not me know more. However, I too know solutions, as I've explained to this metal man here. However, I fear I cannot explain them to you. How much did you listen to? I have to say I don't really appreciate being deceived in such a way, but such is life.
I'll give her a slight smile and say that he doesn't think XK wanted to deceive, but when he does not understand something, his common option is to try to reach out to find someone who might be able to explain what's going on to him, and he'll tell her how much he overheard, which is probably a vast bit less of what she actually said.
She nods slowly.
And XK will ask Zachriel to express his apologies for deceiving her, even though it was not his intent to.
Zach will go through it. Probably also translating to Celestial for XK, so you can sort of follow the conversation. Probably going a little slow, trying to let XK sort of pick up some of the words, maybe.
She says, "Oh, what I've been trying to explain roughly is the forces that would pull at this city in particular. However, I think the same situation presents itself in the other city as well. Perhaps not identical, but..." She sort of shrugs. "How would I know?" Can you give me a sense motive check?
Sure. 9.
No, she seems a rather polite old lady. In fact, shortly after finishing that last sentence, she sort of jumps up from her little seat in the wet mud and fills another pot with water. Sort of turning towards Zachriel. "Would you like some drink?"
Yes, of course. I certainly not had the joy of trying much of the local cuisine here. I have been occupied with thoughts of what I could do to help the situation.
"Oh, I will assure you that you will not enjoy this drink. However, it is local cuisine. The gesture of drinking it is very much appreciated. I suspect it is cleansing, perhaps."
It was not. Yeah, he'll give it a try. It's gonna be the least sacrifice he has to do to free the Empire. He's drinking some
Seaweed
salty tea.
smoothie.
Yeah, what she basically ends up presenting Zachriel is like a very bitter tea made with salt water.
Oh.
I'll drink it slowly.
It's an acquired taste. It's not terrible, but it's not something you would voluntarily drink all the time.
No. Well,
It's like drinking coffee for the first time.
he will go through with the idea of that this is a bit of his people, right? His culture, and he wants to understand it, and for that he has to immerse himself.
The way she appears to live and dress herself might even be reminiscent of before the floating cities were constructed, when the people here were not primitive by any means, but suddenly lived a very different lifestyle.
He'll ask her, noticing this, how she feels about the old Aeson Empire,
She
the
sort
Empire of Viator.
She sort of shrugs at that and says, "Many gestures that I was much too old for to really appreciate. However, certainly better than the best. The younger folk were big fans of the things the Empire brought."
Must be very old indeed.
She doesn't really react to that too much, as she says, "Well, it happens, doesn't it?"
He supposes. I mean, his own people lived for quite a long time too.
Perhaps that is, in fact, a testament to the things that were brought. Well, I do believe that our natural remedies and such were not too far from the fancy science, medicine, or whatever that we ended up with in the Empire. I can't refute that it is better for some things.
Yeah, he's happy with that. I'd say. Glad to hear that the things I appreciated.
One thing, however, was a bit of a shame, I have to say. Well, as grand as these cities are, they protect from predators in the sea, certainly from the mere fact that they are made out of metal and swim well and sturdy. However, they don't really protect from anything else. They were also there was a bit of a controversy surrounding it.
Or please.
Well, I mean, the gesture was certainly a good one, a gift to the people of this planet. However, you gave this gift to a third of the people of this planet, with the other 2/3 being rather upset about it.
So that it was always difficult, as far as he knows, to contact the people of the sort of deeps.
She nods. Oh yes, not only difficult contact, but they also they aren't a people really. They are many, and they do like fighting each other a whole lot. They like to get upset, I think, about many a thing. So this was a good opportunity for them. Granted, I know that the Empire also tried to give them gifts, but that made it even worse, really, because, well, they fight between each other, and you can't really give all of them the same perceived value at the same time. So as soon as you give someone something, the others are going to be upset about it.
They still fight each other even now with the Vesk bombarding them.
Less so, I would believe. Especially recent times might have unified them a little bit. The Vesk, I'm sure you've heard, have been ramping up their attempts at rooting out the deep pawn resistance specifically with, well, their big ship up in the skies and whatnot. Turns out they've been hitting a lot down there in the oceans, and the mere thought of being bombarded from up above pleases none of the deep pawn. I would have liked to see the face of whatever Vesk commander resides over this planet when he realized that 2/3 of the population of this planet wasn't even known to them. And now they've started bombing them, so that's surely a recipe for disaster.
Sacral nods.
It's an awkward stalemate, to say the least. One up in the skies with weapons that could destroy planets, the others down deep seas, well prepared to fight the predators that hunt them down there. However, neither can really do much against the other, except, well, the Vesk do have one additional option that nobody would like. It's the no-loss option for them, I suppose.
Sacral nods, begin to understand.
Though rumor has it that the Vesk have one ace up their scaly sleeve still, although I don't know what it is.
To Zachriel, he'll say, it seems that these people, the people of this world and the people of the old empire, will need each other. The Deepborn cannot exist safely at the bottom, at least not in the world of today. They will need them, the ones above, to protect them. And perhaps the ones above will need the ones below to protect them as well.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that either of those groups would rather have nothing to do with the other. While I don't know if it's actually true, rumor is that the Floatborn and the Deepborn, the split in our people, was created by a few, many years ago in the first place. You see, the floating cities, before these ones were built, used to float over some of the deepest chasms this planet has to offer, primarily so the Deepborn couldn't attack them from below. This planet is peaceful from the surface. There are rarely any large waves, after all. However, if you look into it really, well, we are more than split. On the other hand, that's not really something you should worry about. It's culture, in a sense. Just how we are, and it worked for many years.
I will say nothing to that.
Though said culture does present a problem with this whole Vesk situation. So many different groups all working for the same thing, yet their methods are self-centered at best.
Perhaps they would have a chance if they could unify.
If that were an option, perhaps, although it would require perhaps a literal miracle for that to happen. Perhaps you could get one of the Deepborn tribes on board with working with the Floatborn in the city for at least a little while, but something permanent, oh, that is a large project. If they cannot unify with such a unifying oppression by the Vesk, then very little will get them to.
Perhaps the threat of the planet being destroyed.
She shrugs. Who am I to know what can and cannot be done? However, of course, maybe you need neither of them.
He looks at her.
She sort of shrugs. I'm just saying it might be an option.
Perhaps, though I don't see it.
There's much on this planet that is hidden. And besides, the universe is large, is it not? Even the Vesk has things pressuring it. Come to think of it, I know that many of the Floatborn, well, I wouldn't call them so much as a resistance as disgruntled inhabitants, have hoped that the Pact Worlds would intervene, do something about this. However, that seems unlikely. Especially, you've seen her probably. She resides somewhere close to the docks. A reporter of the sort. She is originally from the Pact Worlds, however, I'm not entirely sure. The issue, however, is it was hoped she would speak for our people to highlight the atrocities that the Vesk are committing. However, she's doing quite the opposite.
Perhaps we should pay her a visit.
And do what exactly? Bully her so she can make another story out of that? How?
I'll talk to her.
She shrugs. Oh, certainly. She'll, I'm sure, just change her mind and flip her entire. She sort of trails off.
Yeah, well, seems, she's certainly told Takrel a lot of things that are very ominous, sort of rumored, if you will, but not a lot of substance that he can sort of grip and use immediately. He'll thank her for the tea, say that he'll keep everything she said in mind, and try to do his best to stop all the evil that happens here.
Oh, and then one last thing. Don't visit again. I would rather avoid the attention. Do you understand?
He nods. Of course. Yeah, I'll take his leave. Look to XK and see if he wants to stay or he doesn't.
I mean,
Maybe this lady wanted some more alone time with him. He'll actually ask if she'd like to speak to XK more, or
She
he won't listen in this time. He'll promise.
She gives a shrug and says, considering that you can't actually understand me, I think I said enough.
Okay.
Just remember, It's all I ask. Consider. There are options open that are off the beaten path, so to speak.
Sakriel nods. Thank you for your time. And step outside.
XK will like gesture thank you again and hand her back the cup. And we'll like leave somewhat slowly, try not to break anything. And,
Sure.
Yeah, generally nice about it.
Sakriel then begins to think about how to, well, Deepborn legends. I mean, really, he has to find a way to get in contact with Deepborn, which brings him back to the same place as he was already. To get down there. But maybe it would be possible to do some research or something.
One reminder that perhaps was not mentioned in the recap. The bartender did have gills, which
So he is.
he is quite obviously a Deepborn.
So maybe we could ask him.
But the Deepborn didn't seem to like the option.
What if he sees me? If this is some kind of prophecy?
Like crosses himself and then like destroys. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe try another day. We could go.
it's a thing, and Sakriel wants to know more because again, he doesn't want to release a horrible. Even if it's just a wives' tale, then it's worth time, and he doesn't want to release a horrible monster.
I think it'll be fine.
I mean, he might be able to go and ask about the old legend.
I mean, I could, yeah.
Yeah, Sakriel will do that.
You go back to the bar and ask.
Let us go.
Do both of you go, or just Sakriel?
He can bring XK, I suppose, but he'll say that XK might spook some of the people there, given that the Vesk clearly have a lot of weaponized droids.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll like wait around the corner and then you can like warn me or fill me in or something. Like warn about me or fill me in as it goes.
Yeah, they speak Warriorcon too.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
It's
whatever then. I'll wander around the block.
Yeah.
He likes to wander.
Find a souvenir. Seaweed plushie. Yeah. Sakriel will go in and ask them. They've heard details of an old legend.
Yeah, as you enter the bar once again, you can see that it's still the same people there, despite an hour or 2 or 3 having passed at this point. As two regular float-born Voyokos sort of sitting at a table, still like drinking some sort of glass with something in it. They both stop there talking between each other to look towards you again.
Do they appear to be Deepborn too?
No, these two do not.
Okay. All right.
And the bartender, of course, behind the bar. It is getting late at this point. Presumably the bar won't be open for that much longer. But normal activities still seem to be going on. All 3 of them, again, do the same like awkward silence when someone enters. That is very common in like Westerns.
They practiced it.
With the bartender especially having like a rather significant frown seeing Sakriel again. Obviously, the point where there's not really an insight check needed before he answers Sakriel's greeting with, "You're not one for subtlety, are you? How's it going to look to the Vesk if you keep returning here?"
Well, if they ask him, he'll say he forgot his keys.
Of a scaly eyebrow being raised. Keys for what exactly?
He shrugs and says he figures the Vesk won't know.
You should work on your excuses. I don't know if you noticed, but we take all of this very seriously. You've offered help that is appreciated. You obviously are not with the Vesk. But if you're a liability with jokes and a inability to keep off the grid, then you are as bad as those floatborn rebels.
He'll say that he's simply anxious to do something. The word going around is that the Vesk have been losing this fight for a long time, and that they're beginning to consider, well, leaving the situation, but that they also will not accept a loss.
He frowns at you a bit and says, the Vesk are not quite yet at that point.
Not quite yet.
He shakes his head. They are trying more things. They don't give up easily. Your worries are not entirely unreasonable, but patience is paramount. In fact, not doing anything right now might be exactly what we need. A failed strike against the Vesk Patrol or anything else inconsequential would put them on edge.
All right. Well, yeah, no. This conversation is not going the way Hector wanted it to. He's gonna politely excuse himself then. So, as they seem to have a pretty good idea of what they're doing. And will probably contact him when they could use a pair of hands. So we'll just go out to XK and say that he wasn't able to get what he needed for the questions.
Mm.
But perhaps just something we can keep in mind.
Does Haya want to do anything as the evening/night approaches? The like little medicinal stand that Lorelia set up doesn't really see any visitors whatsoever.
Well, I mean, that's the sad thing. I think Haya considers himself like part helper and part like bodyguard for her. So I don't think he would leave Lorelia anywhere by herself. So I don't really know that he would do much unless he goes with him. So, I mean, if they don't get any customer, I mean, do they get any customers at all, or?
No, not at all.
Well, that's kind of sad.
People are afraid to trust.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
You could give me a culture or perception check though, as you stand there without really having anything to show for it.
I mean, sure.
Or insight perhaps. Insight or
Oh, I
perception.
would. Insight. Is that
Sense
sense
motive.
motive?
Yeah, sense motive, sorry. It's sense motive is insight in 5th edition.
Yep.
Which is stupid.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I'll take a minute to attune.
Wasn't it sense motive in like
Oh
pretty much
wow.
every other
Okay.
system? Other than
Yeah,
5th
I'm pretty
edition?
sure
I
it
think
is.
4th edition had insight.
Yeah.
Well, rolling a 3 doesn't really help too much. Yeah, it seems like people are just not interested. There's a lot
I guess people are racist. No.
there's a lot who look at you a bit funny, almost if they are angry.
I will like after some time like tap Aurelia on your shoulder and be like, I don't think we're making any progress here. It almost seems like we're making people angry.
Yeah,
I
Lorena
don't know that
agrees.
this is the approach. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do? I guess I mean, if it's like starting to get late, I guess we'll try and find Sacriel and XK again. That makes sense, right? I don't really
I mean, we'll
remember
come
what
back
the agreement
in
was.
the night anyway.
Yeah, I imagine we end up going back to the
We'll go
Right.
back.
ship in the evening.
Yeah.
Yes, as darkness settles over the city, it's quite a strange juxtaposition in that the city itself used to be, well, still is pretty high tech, but with the lack of power, there aren't really any lights. So there's a lot of like torches, and even like sort of gel that seems to glow, sort of covering many of the walls of the different habitation like buildings and such. It's quite weird. And it also makes the large spotlight-esque flashlights of the Vesk patrols even more obvious.
Such a shame. I think the Vesk even demolished solar panels and turned them into war machines.
Yeah.
I mean, we already knew this, though.
Still
Yeah.
sad.
Clearly, it is not a one-time happening, though. I'm not sure what we can do here, Sacriel. We tried to set up a booth and offer medical help for free, but we had no takers. People almost seemed angry. I don't quite understand this culture, if I may be honest.
They have lost all ability to trust in anything. As the Vesk sow distrust and fear into the population.
Do they think we're a cult?
I think they think we are Vesk, trying to
Ah,
hurt them in some mysterious way. Poison them?
police them maybe?
Anything.
Some parts of the city seems to be disturbingly friendly with them, certainly. So I guess they have been making some progress with that.
I think the people are too scared.
XK, make me a perception check.
perception check.
Yes.
You're being followed, man.
Zachariah as well, actually.
Perception.
Okay.
A sweet d20. Hmm. Not even paying attention.
Oh, do I have any boosters? I think I might have a racial.
XK is like holding a new plushie,
Yeah.
squishing it softly.
So
Maybe it makes a little sound like beep, beep,
I got.
beep. It's like a talk toy.
There it
Like
is.
squirts out water as it does.
12.
It's like, oh, it's like a fat goldfish.
He's
Squish.
Right. I mean, nothing bad happens.
Zacriel's distracted by the squeaking plushie.
He's just the kind of guy who's often in his own head, thinking about like what to do and how to do it, and sort of feeling empathy for all the people around here and such. He can sometimes lose. Like he's not used to watching over like every little detail of everything all the time. He's used to having people around him who do that, and sort of, it's not something he would want to like do, like not pay that much attention, but it's something he's sort of grown up with, so he doesn't really notice it.
At this point, are we all together or are we talking over comms?
I think you all went back to the ship, right?
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say. Confused.
Yeah, the ship sits there, like, towering significantly. But left alone, really. At the docks, you can see a couple of Vesk who seem to be stationed there permanently. They don't really pay you too much mind. Pair of Skittermenders just rushing about doing whatever it is they do. Is there anything else you would like to do before settling down for the night?
No, just make sure that our patients are doing well and such, but whoever might be here. If none of them, then, well, you know.
So far, nobody shot up.
No takers. Also been locking the doors.
And
Yeah.
Valky said that Lorelia would help XK make fusions.
Sure.
That'll be like his before bed thing.
You can certainly do that.
Or I guess before shutdown mode.
For the next few days, I would like to speed those up a bit. Is there anything in particular you want to do?
I feel like there should be, but no.
A lead to pursue, or do you just wait for your contacts to come back to you?
He would like to, in general, find a way to research this this prophecy or myth,
Okay.
or whatever.
That sounds like you are looking for rumors, gathering information.
Yeah,
There's
I
in
was gonna
fact
say.
a skill for that.
All right.
Is culture.
Good.
I think Haya would try and like walk around in the different parts of the city.
Yes.
Oosh.
Oh damn.
Culture. Zakril is taught well.
Yeah. Let's see what the others are planning to do first before we resolve that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just find my sheet again. Is there any way I could like Haya could walk around and like try and use sense motive to like sort of read the different moods in different parts of the city? Like how they interact or how they look at him or
Yeah. Sure.
because I'm assuming no one wants to make me to pick fights with the Vesk, so at least
There's certainly plenty of opportunities available.
he might be very interested also in the like relationship between the people who are like sort of friendly with the Vesk and the other parts of the city, like if they
Zachriel would have made sure to tell Hia that the resistance he spoke to wanted it to be quiet so that the Vesk would get a false sense of security.
So Haya is basically going towards where the inhabitants seem to be a bit like buddy like with the Vesk and looking around there.
Yeah, mainly. But also, like, he wants to see how they interact, I guess, with the other Ryuka, whatever their weird complicated names. Come on. 21.
Okay. XK doing anything?
Yeah, there's a load of
Drinking tea.
there's a load of statues and stuff and monuments in the city, isn't there?
Not really monuments. The only thing that remotely reminds you of a monument is the spire that used to take the electricity from the solar panels up ahead down into the heart of the city. It sort of is like something of a statue at this point, I suppose. It doesn't really serve any other purpose, at least.
And you said there's like other statues around?
I
Or-
don't believe I did.
No? Okay. Other than that spire, are there other landmarks around? Or is it just sort of that, like, nothing of
Well,
significance?
what sort of landmarks do you mean? Like parks and gathering
No,
places?
so like basically the idea I'm going with is he wants to look at culturally significant places in the city where he may find like any pairing of these symbols or something to do with these
Also,
symbols.
like something temple-like.
Almost, yeah. I mean, the spire, or like maybe there's like like I was thinking that there's a statue and there's a swirly and like over here there's two parallel lines and like maybe there was a hint of a color or something like that. That just looking to see if there's anything in the city that could give him a clue to these weird symbols.
Right, pick an area. Like there's the marketplace sort of area in the middle with the big spire. And there's certainly some like other local places in the other districts, especially in the better one, where there do seem to be not exactly temples, not exactly bars either, but certainly places with the purpose for people to go there for, talking reasons and such.
And which sector was that again?
This one.
That one.
Like not exactly theaters, but something akin to that. Something that doesn't really appear in the overcrowded sector down below. Mostly because they presumably were taken over as living spaces.
I think, he'll try that, but I think he'd go via the spire.
Okay.
Like, he'll go to the spire, then he'll go off there.
All right, then give me a perception check, I think. Looking around, looking for these symbols.
I'm so good at those. Yeah.
5. Right.
Skill checks, not great.
Zachriel, that was a gathering rumors culture. About deep-born legends.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Zachriel strikes up a conversation with someone. It's probably the most straightforward way to get to that sort of information.
Mm.
And while they can't really tell you details, after all, they are not deep-born, the people you meet in the city. They are, in fact, float-born. It's a float-born city, obviously. They do know a thing or two. There's certainly many, many, many very large predators deep in the oceans, and rumor has it that there's even bigger ones the deeper you go, to the point where the most ancient of them is so large that it's effectively a thing of legend at this point. Not just a mere beast that roams eating other large predators, but something that is part of the planet itself at this point. Though another rumor has it that I mean, it hasn't been seen. There hasn't been any sign that it actually exists. So either it's just myth or fable, or it's been sealed off by something in the past, by the ancient Deepborn, perhaps, who wanted to conquer the depths of the ocean for themselves.
Is there anything about what it could be?
Um,
Depictions or anything? Like, is it a tentacle mess?
Depictions or descriptions, at least, compared to the existing predators. Something serpent-like, perhaps?
Mhm,
Or perhaps a very large eel, as it happened.
mhm.
Although descriptions vary wildly. Some have tentacles, some have teeth everywhere. It's a large,
The generally malicious
Fish.
creature.
generally described as one, yes.
All right. Okay, good to know.
It's described somewhat comparably, although that's very a rough comparison to something of like Norse legend, like the snake biting itself, or like Nidhogger biting the tree of life or whatever. It's sort of in that vein. It's very vague and mostly like metaphorical, really.
Mhm. Yeah. Well,
Like
he didn't expect that to get a lot, but
Like the planet itself is actually one of the predators.
it'd be great to have the planet with us. But if it eats a bunch of people, that's not really acceptable. All right, yeah, sounds like standard rumors, but nothing Cthulian or anything like that. So.
It has a bit of a sound like that.
Hmm.
Like it's described not as sentient, perhaps, but not as mindless either. Perhaps
Sounds
going
like a bad
towards a sort of alien intellect.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. Like to be honest, not a fan of reading unknown horrors because at some point you can't put them back in there.
You might also hear that if this thing exists, it would most definitely be large enough to just swallow that stupid Vesk ship.
Mm-hmm. Speaking like a kid at the library, you would just swallow the big Vesk ship.
Yeah, it would
So
save
cool.
everyone. We are much too small for it to care about us. And all the cities are on land already. We'd be safe.
Yes, wouldn't we? That seems like a squabble thing between the Floatborn and the Deepborn. Well, it turns out we had to kick some Vesk ass, and we're going to be doing that, I think. So, yeah.
And higher that was a sense motive to see what's going on. He gets the general idea that there's a group of off-worlders that your group has been sort of thrown into without really any proof. That seems to be best described as a disaster tourist. Visiting places in terrible conditions to take photos and be able to make blog posts about it.
How undignified.
She also gets the idea that there's probably not many of them, but the few that are here seem to be large-ish public figures, which doesn't really help the planet's, like, not reputation perhaps, but whatever the Pact Worlds should think about it, they might not because of those people.
Everyone's an influencer these days. Ugh.
And X-Ray walking around, he doesn't find anything.
During the Slap a Warrior Con challenge. No.
Doesn't actually donate to the charity.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Lorelei like follow Taya again. He wants to figure out what happened as well. Because after all of you finish your exploration and such, or like afternoon at this point, not exactly getting dark yet, but getting close to it, you get a message on your comm unit, which simply reads something like this.
Attention required. To the ship.
Okay. To the ship.
Zachary is closest. He sees most likely first what's really going on. There seems to be a bit of a crowd gathered at the edge of the city, overlooking the landing pads. With, as you approach, one figure definitely standing out. She's got a bit of a space around her. Is being circled by by 3 small neon-colored drones, each apparently equipped with a camera. She is definitely a humanoid figure dressed in very professional-looking clothes. You know, like not exactly business suit, but something a bit more snazzy, in light blue and apparently armored. It's almost reminiscent of a fusion between, upper class business suit and riot gear, which somehow actually doesn't look bad. She looks mostly human, with the exception of her jeans only covering like the upper half of her legs, which in fact end in joints that bend the wrong way, and her feet are hooves. She also sports a set of well-polished horns poking through long blonde hair. You can see her talking into a microphone, which most likely isn't required. The audio is likely recorded by the drones and not the microphone, but it clearly marks her out as a reporter of some sort. And standing somewhat in that vicinity of her that the locals appear to be avoiding, you can see a skitterman with 3 tablet-like controls as he frantically looks at all 3 drones and then back to the woman and back to his controls, and seems to be controlling them quite well.
What seems to be going on? What are they reporting on?
Looking across like the edge of the city, it appears there's a relatively large group of Vesk, sort of not too far from your ship. They're most definitely focused on it.
Oh shit! He'll can he like ask some of the people around here? Like this seems to, if there's a crowd, there's probably people who'd be like, what's happening?
Approaching the situation, you don't actually need to ask anyone to hear what's being reported, as she appears, the like reporter lady appears to be amplifying whatever she's recording currently. As it says, "It is a tense situation here at Aster's western landing platform. The remaining crew of the Triaxian vessel behind me has so far refused to cooperate with authorities. General Norvok is at a tense crossroads. Does he trust his instincts and acts against a potential terrorist so brazenly defying the West's attempts at introducing order to this post-war society by skirting proper visitation procedures, or does he waste time waiting on paperwork? I am Elizabeth Lensworth, live from Vesk 25, the bomb that, despite the Veskariums and General Novok's best efforts, refuses to be defused. A place seemingly desperate for misery. Keep an eye on your comms activity tracker. I will be back when something changes."
Okay, if we die, we're gonna throw her into the sea first.
Race traitor bitch.
Right?
Okay, well that's problematic because they're gonna be
But what does it
building
mean
another
with
ship.
the remaining crew? There's no one on a ship.
No, but the AI has probably been like, no, you cannot enter.
Alright. Well,
How many Vesk are there?
It's like 5.
fuck
Yes, we
this
could
shit.
kill all of them,
Well,
but it would be bad for our.
I
It
mean,
would be on camera and everything.
It would not be good for our image at all.
no,
It
but they
would.
can't break into our ship. I mean,
They
that's
can.
Oh, they can. This is, you know, for all they know, we're suspected terrorists, and
I mean, we are.
frankly, if the police force where I am saw a suspected terrorist ship and didn't seize it, I would be worried.
It's true. I mean, what are they gonna see? They're gonna see a lot of medical beds, and then we will be like, "Yeah, we're the ones who tried to
They'll
recruit.
confiscate it, right?
We were
They
the one."
might.
What?
And turned into a weapon ship.
Yep.
Well, then
Also,
we'll.
AI are going to be dismantled, and
at this time, another site which may or may not be you be more happy to see, a very much battered Vesk vessel landing.
all right.
Tell us more.
Drawing no attention whatsoever. Get you over here.
Oh my god, it's him!
Tense time though.
Mm.
Let's say, and he is huge.
You land like on the smaller ones over here.
Okay, but where are the Vesk? Where are those sons of bitches? Are they
The
at our
Vesk
door?
are basically sort of here at the edge of the landing pad. They don't. They seem a bit hesitant. Like they're not like they don't look ready to storm the place. More like discussing between each other.
I mean, maybe once.
Does Azrael and Sobok see this?
Yeah, as you exit your ship, you can see the slight commotion. From your closer vantage point over there, you wouldn't think it's like a seizure in process, but more of a what do we do now?
I mean, maybe when XK and Lorelia finally arrive, we can go and talk to them. We don't need to.
But
Jump
we
to
did
any
skirt their like
conclusions.
stalking laws.
Yeah, but we announced our intentions when we arrived.
Sure, but do you really want to spend time talking to the Vest commander about that?
I mean, on the other hand, we could have a huge fight and ruin everything. I don't know what really are like what options we have.
It's true.
If we see each other, Azrael will search and say, we should find out what's going on before making any moves and start maneuvering towards the party.
I think we're also gonna make our way like to the edge of things.
Yeah.
We really don't want to be on camera, ideally.
You don't want to be on camera, you said.
Well, yeah, I mean, or if we do, at least we should make the message we have very clear.
Yeah.
Does it seem to be live though?
Give me a perception check. Well, the way transmission of things works, it would be live for the planet at least, but not for like anywhere else.
You know what we're doing? We'll place XK right in front of that.
I mean,
I mean-
people don't have power here, so they're probably not going to be watching a whole lot of TV.
The
So they
easy,
can't see anything.
the easy way to keep the press out is by saying hi to the Vesk and inviting them in to talk, and that way we have privacy, and we
And
can
then we leave, and the ship leaves.
yeah, and we can murder them if we want to.
Sure, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That way, when press are like trying to follow, we can go, sorry, no, not allowed in here.
XK and Haya give me.
Yes,
What?
my perception.
Oh,
My greatest of skills.
I know, right? Haha, I beat you.
We
There
are.
are people here.
We're so
XK,
perceptive.
stop squishing that thing. God damn it.
Get me in my house.
XK, perception check.
I did mine. I got a 3.
Oh, you did, yeah. All right. None of you notice as suddenly, actually, should roll already as well. See what kind of bonus this year.
Let's
Come on, Lorelli.
Do it.
Carry.
carry us. Yeah.
She's like the best one at it.
She
Yeah.
is.
He gestures and brings to your attention that the reporter lady appears to be approaching you.
No comment.
No, sure, yeah. She seems to be. All right.
All right, you let her approach.
I mean, what else are we gonna do, right? I mean, I assume like we could just go to intersect the Vesk, but you know, this bee seems to be interested.
Yeah, she gives you a slight smile as a greeting as she says, "Greetings. I see that you're not from here either. Would you be willing to give a quick interview about the situation, your opinions and such?"
We're about to blow her mind.
Good looks to here. Considers leaving here with the lady.
What? Don't leave me here.
Yeah, no.
I want to stab the Vesk.
He looks over and says, "How quick?"
Oh, it shouldn't take long unless you want it to take long.
Sure.
What?
Well, a quick set of questions before we start. What brings you here?
He looks to the ship and say, "We are traveling medical personnel. We're here for a humanitarian organization."
She raises an eyebrow and looks towards the hospital ship. A smile creeps on her face before she nods slightly and says, "I see. Well, let's have the camera roll then, shall we?"
So good on this. Sure, but yeah, why not?
What?
She,
We're gonna be displayed to all the Vesk territory. Is that a good idea?
She
No,
gestures over to,
you know.
to her Skittermander drone controller as the free drone starts circling all of you. As she starts first clearing her throat, sort of getting into that professional stance with the microphone in front of her, and starts, "I am Elizabeth Lensworth, always at the forefront of the news. I am with what might very well soon turn out to be the terrorists the Vesk have been looking for. A group of people who have bypassed the legitimate blockade of this planet to do perhaps deeds perceived as heroic. How would you explain yourself and your skirting, nay, breaking of the laws that have been enforced by the bringers of order to this planet?"
Sakura will be very diplomatic in his explanation, saying that as of now, any such perceived slight like a breaking of law is an allegation that, of course, will be handled, to the satisfaction of all parties involved. that it is no issue, and that this is a peaceful attempt to aid locals and to increase stability in the system and ensure that that everyone here has what they require.
I see. Would you say that you are the type who has a manifesto? And if so, would you like to share it with my viewers?
They think we're cult.
Sekiro will say that that he believes in, and this is where he's going to be real good for TV, because he's a follower of Sarenrae, and will begin to speak of the virtues of Sarenrae and of how he believes helping and healing is the best way forward for all. It's going to be as dull TV as he can make it.
Yeah, she nods happily along as you rattle off the tenants and such. As she says, "Where's the rest of your crew, and why does the remaining crew on the ship appear to refuse to cooperate despite attempts at peaceful communication by the Vest?"
As I say that he has just been notified of the situation, and of course will take it well in hand. His crew is not from here, and so they do not know the local situation, hence why they are stationed on the ship. Of course, this will all be handled, and really, this is no issue at all. On that note, though, he'll thank her for her time and say that perhaps she should get to speak to the Vesk before anything like escalated anyway.
She nods and says, "I see. Very well then. Do feel free to contact me before you do anything of note."
Yes,
oh my
of
god,
course.
so she can follow us around.
That would be he would be delighted to share the good works with. And so we'll smile and say that everyone out there should remember that that they too can do good for all if they just push a little bit harder every day to make the world a better place.
She smiles, nods slightly, says, "Thank you. Well, perhaps you should hurry to your ship then before things escalate."
We'll go to the ship.
As you leave her, you hear her talking to the camera as she says, "Will this be the last interview before the terrorists reveal themselves? Will it have been a mistake for me to not interfere? We will find out soon, I am sure."
Kind
Oh, I
of
want to push her into the sea. Oh, I want to swim into the sea
she's
so
Fae,
bad.
though. She's a satyr, right? She's like
Yeah.
I don't even know what they would do now. I guess they're media.
You would think that she is in fact a tiefling.
Oh, slightly
Yeah,
different.
she's-
But I guess she is the devil. So
Push. I
you
mean,
know,
it
what's
makes
a tabloid?
makes
I guess
Redford
it's
into a journalist, I guess. You know, like the media.
Yeah,
it's
it's
tabloid stuff.
Of course.
it's definitely a good commentary on the current like news climate, isn't it? Full of tieflings.
Slightly racy, but all right. As an ASMR, Zachriel feels that there's a kinship there between the planar bound creatures, though. Certainly of different heritage. As you begin making your way to our ship.
Before that, Azrael, give me a stealth check.
Okay. Oh god, sorry, my mental's going on crazy.
Actually, let's keep
Skill check. I'm using stealth. Whoa.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah. No issue. Well, the ship has multiple entrances. and you can
Actually,
sneak into
sorry,
one of them.
I've applied my expertise now when I shouldn't have, but that's still a
See, the expertise was 5, so that's still a 30. Yeah, you rolled a 19. That's gonna be enough.
Yeah.
You can sneak your way into the ship.
Yeah. I don't know, Azrael doesn't know what the situation is yet, but how to handle it. So I'll let the others do it. Just sort of meet them in a more private area.
The rest of you approach Group Vesk outside. I'm gonna remove Sobok. However, he is with Israel.
Okay. Good to know.
Do I have a token for them?
Once he gets inside, he'll sort of go to the control area and view from inside the ship.
Sure.
Until they catch up with him.
I don't have a token. But as you approach, it becomes quite clear that a group of 6 or so of the Vesk patrols, as well as one Vesk who clearly has a higher rank and is in command. It's visible on the slightly different armor he wears, as well as perhaps some sort of mark of rank, but none of you really be able to identify what exactly that means. They sort of spread out, weapons not pointed at you, but certainly expecting something, perhaps, as the lead Vesk steps forward and says, "Who are you exactly?"
I am Sacriel. I am a member of the crew of the ship that seems to be causing some disturbance. He sort of looks back to the reporter and like all the people. I was just made aware that there appeared to be a problem, and we came as fast as we could.
The Vesk nods after a moment of looking at each of you and says, "Cooperation. Good. Very good. Now, answer me why exactly your crew inside isn't opening the doors for an inspection."
So, the ship is not from here, and so the crew is afraid to exit the ship, likely because they are not entirely sure about the laws governing this city. As such, they were not granted shore leave. I'm afraid we can be rather strict with our discipline on board.
Give me a diplomacy check.
Okay.
And why exactly is there
It should have
no...
been an 11, but
11, okay. And why exactly is there no record of this ship ever having entered the atmosphere of this planet, pray tell?
We are a humanitarian mission. I can only imagine that that the good commander has had more pressing issues to deal with at the moment than this. I understand that there's a lot of very busy things going on, and I mean, she said slightly and says, "I really cannot say. There was some disturbances and such, but perhaps we should discuss this." He sort of looks. I mean, I can bring you into the ship if you want to have a look around.
Give me a bluff check, first of all.
Okay. Oh. Great.
Better.
He narrows his eyes slightly and says, "I know that the Admiral is busy with many things. However, I refuse to believe that he missed as big of a ship as yours, or refused to report as much. Had this city been in a higher state of alert, then we might even have fired upon you. Now, I do think we should talk more about this in private. Consider your ship grounded for the time being, and if you do try to take off, well, you'll find out what those guns at the shoreline really are for. You will meet me at my barracks tomorrow at dawn. If you do not show up, I'll show you that those guns at the shoreline can also fire on landed ships.
It's like a fast
Until then, welcome to the
I-
city."
Perhaps we can discuss this immediately. I mean, I understand it's quite a disturbance here. I would like to have this dealt with as soon as possible. I mean, you wanted to inspect the ship. It is entirely possible. Please, just let me show you the way.
He smiles slightly and shakes his head. No. You're in my city now, and I like it that way. Feel free to look around at your leisure, but you're not leaving until you talk to me tomorrow.
Should we just murder this guy, guys? Like, well, what's the plan here? Pretty bad.
I mean,
You can't kill all of Esk in the city. There's probably like a
No.
bunch.
no. I feel like we should play along, frankly.
Yeah.
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 Alright.
I mean, he hasn't come in, has he yet? Like into the
No.
ship? No.
Hasn't
So,
what?
He's still standing at the bridge here, plenty of
Yeah.
distance away.
so we really shouldn't just murder them here.
You could also give me
You're
an
right,
insight
right
check.
in
thank
public.
I'll
I would
try.
You
like to
probably
do an
still have the
insight check.
reporter watching
Sure,
you.
you can do one as well.
What's his thing here? Because I was thinking of bribing the guy. Like, he don't
Yeah,
want to be
but
here.
not-
28?
Oh, shit.
28. Haya gets the thought that, first of all, the West seems to be really enjoying to having caught you red-handed, basically. But the fact that he is not arresting you on the spot and actually wants to talk to you seems unusual.
I think we should take it. I think we should just meet him tomorrow.
All right. Sacriel will do a glance to Shia. And if Shia doesn't, like, yes, kill him now, then,
There's like a frown on this, not opposed to the killing idea, of course, but
Sacriel gets the gist. He just nods. Very well. I suppose I'm at your mercy.
He nods slowly, says, I'm glad you see it that way.
Bye.
He continues with a
did he tell
long,
us his name?
No, he didn't.
with a long and awkward minute of eye contact before gesturing the Vesk he is with to leave you alone.
Then we'll go into our ship.
Where you'll be ambushed by Ezreal.
Oh no!
Shoot him!
Yes.
The entire time?
Never
Wow.
left.
Yeah, I mean that'll probably
Dude,
lead to
help
some
out.
questions.
And a hug.
Yeah, as you get back in, you'll see that Azrael was watching what was going on outside on the monitor, and he looks very tired. As him and Soba sort of barely standing up. He looks at you with a smile as you enter into the room. Looks like you got yourself in some trouble while I was away. I leave you alone for a few weeks, and look what happens. Sort of stumbles over.
Well, no, it's like just there was a lot more. I almost got killed. But enough of that. How did it go? You're back. You're here.
Yes, things I have to share with you. It's important, but first I sees Lorelia there and sort of reaches out for her hand. And if Valky was here, I would assume that he would do his info dump spell. As we learn what's been going on. And so he sort of takes a second to commune with her. And right, well, you've been busy. Okay, first of all, did you receive my message? I sent you one when I arrived on Vesk 7.
Did maybe?
Lorelia does not seem to have received the message yet. Sobok chimes in with, Triune has been very kind to us in terms of speed. She might not have been as kind to our message. It could be that we arrived before.
It's good to know that he's on our side. We did get back remarkably fast, it seems. Well, regardless, it also may have been intercepted. I've spoken tongues, so it shouldn't reveal anything. But where's Slutzlack? You left him in space? Sorry, there's a lot to process all at once.
Frantically thinking, did we leave him in space? I think we did.
Yep.
Yeah, you did.
Because if we got searched, it would have been awful.
Oh.
It was in my recap.
If, okay, so here's what happened. I left Endeavor with you. Sorry. When me and Sobak left Endeavor, we haven't slept much. We've been pushing the ship to get there as fast as we could. 6-man crew, just 2 of us. I need a night's rest for sure. But we kept going, and when we got into Veskarium space, we saw a fleet that had been attacked. It looks like it was the same fleet that you saw. You saw the remains. I saw the living. They were running back. They had been in some kind of explosion. It looked like a supernova, a mini supernova delivered from an item. I got a bunch of footage from it. There was markings, insignia. Some of it didn't make sense to me, so I recorded it in case it came up again, or maybe one of you could make sense of it. But there was one thing that alarmed me, and then that was the symbol of the main dreadnought of the fleet. It's Bidu's son, the one who is wanting to take over the governorship of this system. When me and Sobak were trying to get into Vesk space, we snuck in amongst the fleet. The big-bellied bulwark is in such bad shape that we had blended in quite well with a fleet that was licking its wounds. And, I listened for open transmissions, and he's quite capable, and he wants to step up and take over as much as he can. But in addition to that, there was a house that Dalhak was working with. It was called House Verisk, and it's led by a sheriff. He's so focused on defeating the swarm that he's actually managed to secure a position among Vesk nobility. And he's part of this, this fight against them. They're trying to get everything they can so they can fight against the swarm. It's a big focus of theirs right now. But once we got there, I met with the contact. His name, he sort of like shifts an eye over to Sobok. I'm like, I think I should keep that to myself. He likes his privacy. It was enough of a gesture that he was willing to speak with me, thanks to the mutual friendship we have with the captain. I need Slazlak to head to Asa. And the reason for that is because the technology we need, it's all been stripped apart and repurposed for, the Vesk military needs. But there was something that could be an exception to that. Torno is certain that Bidu keeps trophies when he conquers a planet, or that it's a Vesk tradition to keep something that was unique to the system, something they made, something cultural-wise as a mark of their occupation. And when I went through with him what I knew about Endeavor, what I researched on the way, he's pretty sure that that kind of hybrid technology would be such a trophy. And he has the political pressure he has the means to be able to put pressure on Bidu to release what he has to aid the Vesk military effort. I'm going to owe him something for this, and it shouldn't affect any of you. I made it clear to him that I only speak for myself, not for you, and that I don't write blank checks. Regardless, this is still going to be something that, if it's at all possible, I'll want to pay him back for when he inevitably asks for it. He is a powerful figure, and if you research him, you turn up in nothing. He knows how to stay off the radar. I wouldn't mess with him. But the good news is, if we can set an ambush, and once Bidu releases his courier to take the technology to the Vesk warfleet, we could take it for ourselves. The reason that I want Sizek to go there is that there's no way that ambushing the governor's personal courier ship is going to go unnoticed. But if it appears that it was the swarm who did, it might rile them up even more so. I think it's a ship that Sizek could take on his own.
Might be something Sleslik wants to do.
It will be the ultimate test of his new capabilities. He's going to have to fight at some point.
Well, we're grounded currently.
Yeah. If we can at least get a message to him, we can get him started on that while we figure out what to do with this Vesk.
I don't think Sleslik has a radio, does he? I think maybe
I think
Lorelia
Lorelia fashioned. Yeah, Lorelia fashioned one for him, I think.
But
Yeah,
is
but
it
it was
long
like
distance?
limited range.
Yeah.
It was like a
Is it?
telepathic thing.
Would we be able to get a message out to Slazak?
I think it was very limited range, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lorelia worked on a way to communicate with him short range. She, I don't know. There we go. Worked on a hive jack to communicate with him basically with words again. But I don't think the two of them managed to get some sort of long-range communication working quite yet. You basically arranged a predetermined meeting point where you would meet up again. Or where you would come fetch him from.
Yeah.
Could we, since this is quite pressing, since our timeline on Endeavor is still running, and Valkyrie's not here anyway, maybe we send Sobak and Lorelia on the Big Belly Bulwark. That should be able to leave. And then she can hop back down, like find Sizek, tell him what's up, and basically make sure that
do it.
Yeah, ask him if he wants to do it. Make sure that he reads as nothing but a swarm, like there's no backworld technology on board, and then hop back down.
Well, Sobok chimes in that Vesk commander did see her as part of the ship's crew, so it's unlikely they're going to let him leave in a different ship. However, they did not see Sobok. Seems to be an easy enough task. He might not have the capabilities to communicate exactly, but he can probably figure it out.
Does he know who Zizek is? Because I don't think we ever told him.
He thinks it's just, a friend of yours.
I mean,
We'd have to tell him in order to.
Yeah, there's no way he.
Decide after tomorrow.
I'm assuming you're like not openly speaking about this like in front of him, just
Not like, oh yeah,
your characters are smart enough to keep that determination. I won't put that responsibility on you as players.
Sobak, I'll just be straight up. He hasn't agreed with the plan that we came up with, but respected it and gone along with it. He's been reliable at every turn. you know, I would be okay with revealing the truth to him.
We'll do that when we've saved them. Right?
I think it's just too dangerous to give
Well,
him.
he already knows that we're and he's revealed secrets relating to the contact that
Sure, but
he could get
working with the
killed.
swarm, I feel like that's different.
Yeah, I think
Especially
there's like an inbred hatred now for swarm vessels in Pact World and Vesk alike. So I don't know.
but what's our timeline? If we've been here for a couple of weeks, we had like 3 months.
You had
It
2
was-
months.
it
You have
was less than 2.
approximately 3 weeks left.
We still need to get off this planet and get back to Endeavor, and
Let's just hope we don't get
also
put in prison.
Slazak needs to get. Yeah, he needs to get to Asa and back.
Ace is not 3 weeks away though.
Oh,
So-
like-
You have about
What-
about a 2-week window.
Yeah, so I've got to send him on basically saying, yeah, go for it. Like, we're ready. Like, we're in position to ambush. And then he's got to put pressure on Vidu. Like, there's a lot of back and forth via drift
I guess you
messaging.
could go.
Hmm?
You could go and tell Flashlight.
Yeah, I suppose. It could.
I haven't seen you.
Yeah. But I also want to play.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, no, more blood.
I think
Oh, 2 more sessions
No.
down the drain.
Put yourself in this
Ah.
situation, isn't it? You don't have a
Well, if I
choice.
knew my 7-week hiatus.
to me
I
it
would've-
it doesn't sound like it's a we have to leave right this second. To me it sounds like we can at least see whether or not we are grounded after tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah, I
Because
suppose one day is.
yeah,
It won't take long to contact Zaslak. You probably organize the meeting point not too far from here. Certainly not like a week there and back. It's like
And even
maybe
if we
2
are-
days.
You know, God, you know what? I'm not even supposed to be at this meeting now. He doesn't know where I am. Like, he doesn't know.
Yeah, that's the
So,
thing. But we want you to
That
play.
is the smart. Yeah.
All logic says that you should not show up at the meeting.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. You know what?
But that
Just be there.
sucks.
It does. It does.
Well, that's how it played out. So,
Um,
No.
I mean, at the same time, if we still get grounded, we're gonna need Azrael for something. And
yeah, if the ship gets blown up, then you're gonna need another way off.
yeah, I actually
You know,
think
I could.
I actually think that Azrael should come with us. For the
But
simple
what if
fact,
he just went and sent, like, if it doesn't take long, he can go do that now. Right? Dr. Slash, and then you'll be back by tomorrow.
is that something he could do, Sheik?
Is that
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Get it done.
gameplay over realism here. You can get that done
Yeah.
very quickly.
cool? Tell me where Slazak is. Give me the hijack, and someone go buy me a sniper rifle, and I'll just watch the meeting tomorrow.
Do you know how expensive sniper rifles are?
Gonna do like 1d2.
I don't care about damage. Give me the shittiest one you have. Fine. I'll just use covering fire from afar.
I think they're still super expensive. Let's see.
I'll look into it. Yeah. Yeah, we can have Azrael and Sarlok take the hijack and go find Slazak and get that ball rolling.
Yeah.
With that done,
Yes, dude. I guess he should just meet us at Endeavor then afterward.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can come back and we can go then. Really.
Yeah, sure. Let's just happen. That'll work because,
Yeah, and then I'll send a message to Torno and just get the clock started and then return.
All right.
What does Slash like think of it?
Sounds like it's fine with it. It seems like an important mission which he enjoys. Being an important part of your adventure here is certainly exactly what he wants to be. So he's
Critical
fine with
part
it.
of undoing. This is a critical part of undoing what the swarm did to the planet we met on. And he's the only one who can.
It is pretty critical, isn't it?
This is going to cost some loyalty.
Let's see. What traits do we have? Participation in large events may increase loyalty. It is critical, but it's not exactly a large event. The transport ship you're expecting will not be a match for him at all. It's an unarmed vessel. Well, unarmed as far as vessels go, anyways. So it won't gain him loyalty, but it'll certainly be right up his alley. Although he does confess to Azrael that he'll probably not destroy the ship, just take the stuff and leave.
I would negative. Take the stuff, then destroy it after you leave. It can't appear to be anything other than a swarm ambush, because that would be suspicious if he actually stopped and had Shekek and Ruru search for something specific, right?
I don't think so. Swarm can have they wouldn't have been so successful without having actual effective plans, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Well, I guess he knows the swarm better than I do. So he just act in character. It can't appear to be anything other than what we want it to.
And I don't actually think it's that hard, given that the Vesk probably won't think, oh, that's probably a Sheeran who's now in a swarm ship body.
No, it's less about that and more the fact that, oh, some guy put pressure on me to let this thing go and then it gets looted. Like that can't be obvious that thing was stolen.
Sure.
Right?
Well, it sounds like we'll do his best to appear as swarmy as he can.
Cool. I mentally salute to him and then actually do it and then go back. You have your orders. Onward, soldier.
I'm proud of him.
Yeah, me too. I can buy a level 1 sniper rifle for 375 credits. Let's do that.
Yeah, I put another option in the armory. It's in the armory. It's called the... What's it called? Coil rifle. That was it.
Yeah. So
right.
for the meeting shape, if I buy a sniper rifle from someone, can I just have Sobok watch my back and I'll watch the meeting from afar, and if combat happens, I'll just use the sniper?
Yeah.
Cool.
Of course, the sniper will only really work outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll find a building across from the barracks or something.
That'll work.
I'm sure they have no protection for that.
Let's skip ahead.
Azrael is a
to that
tactician.
meeting then.
he can find the optimal spot.
He's good at it.
Yeah, the Vesk outpost where you have been cordially invited to go to is not that far from the city on actual land. It's a relatively small compound. There's maybe 4 buildings, 2 of which have 2 stories. One of them looks to be like a larger storage warehouse / garage, perhaps. You don't see any vehicles immediately, but there do seem to be tracks indicating some sort of, well, relatively large tracked vehicle that perhaps resides in that garage. The 2 double-story buildings appear to be barracks, capable of housing quite a few people. And the last one, perhaps a command center of some sort, which is the one that you are gestured to as you approach the compound. They are already expecting you, presumably given descriptions. Azrael does find a reasonably nice overlook on some of the barren rock. The issue there is it's not exactly well hidden. There's no real foliage to hide behind. There's no nice rock crevice or anything. You're somewhat exposed, but relatively far away, so maybe that's okay.
I'll show up at the night before, having just landed, and I'm freaking exhausted, and try and make some cover for myself, and try not to fall asleep.
You read a book from this brain guy that describes how you sleep while aiming down a scope.
I'm definitely not as good as Stadius at sniping.
You are escorted. You're escorted by a grand total of 4 Vesk to what must be the command building. All the structures are very simple. They are basically big concrete blocks, not really decorated in any way whatsoever. The floor is almost of the same material as the walls are, giving the entire thing a very uniform and utilitarian look. And the door you let through is good old spaceship grade, bulletproof. You know the kind. It's pretty much what's the word? It's not really a door. It's more of a thing you first need to unscrew before you can open, like on a submarine.
A hatch?
A hatch. That's the word. Although inside, it's a bit more standard. There's actual doors, and you are being led into what is effectively an office, and from the looks of it, most likely the nicest room in the entire compound. You can see the General Novork, as you heard the reporter call him, sitting behind a desk. It's like a computer screen and all the standard things you would find in an office, as well as being flanked by 2 mean-looking desk guards. There's no chairs in front of the desk, though. He sort of gestures for you to stand in front of him.
We'll sit down.
There's nothing to sit.
Oh.
Just there's his desk, his chair, and that's basically it.
It's forcing us to stand in front of him.
That's all right. I'll be taller than him then.
It does appear he has no issue looking up to you, though.
Okay.
I'll crane my head to one side so it's not hitting the ceiling.
He gets straight to the point, saying, "So, what exactly are you smuggling?" "Come on, I know you are."
Just know who we are.
"I know that you are smugglers. Is it drugs, perhaps? Easy to hide between the medical supplies. Although it could be anything. Your ship is large enough that an inspection would never find it."
So, you should breathe out this. Well, we just want this done with and over with in a very peaceful manner. I'm sure you have some sort of procedure in which we can come to some sort of arrangement about this. And
Oh, the procedure would have me arrest you, put you into, well, prison with the rest of the criminals, and have you shipped off to the admiral to do whatever it is he would do to criminals these days. This is beyond procedure at this point. I'm just asking for a show of trust in a sense. I'm doing you a huge favor here, and I expect you to be grateful for that.
so just thinking, we're not actually smuggling anything. But like this guy might want us to be. There's appear to be a recording device in this.
Give me a perception check.
We're incriminating ourselves. That seems like a bad idea.
I'll do a perception as well.
Don't see one.
Do I see one?
You don't see one either. He has a computer. It might have a microphone. Who knows?
I mean, why don't
I mean, data
We're-
pets don't, and that's a mini computer, so
we can give him his like our directive is not lying. Basically, that we our ship is to provide medical aid. We're not smuggling anything in. So
Yeah.
it's telling the truth. It's we're just not saying other bits that we're here to help the resistance, but we're just saying our ship
But
is
we
here.
mustn't make him- The idea is he knows we voided the checkups, right? Why would we do that? Is what he's trying to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could just say that we didn't want our humanitarian aid to be
Relayed to
for it to be
Good.
stopped or avoided,
Sakura will say that that we are not bringing any smuggled goods. At least I don't believe so. He looks behind him to his crew. However, we are bringing medical aid to the people here. We're a humanitarian ship.
He grunts at that.
So far,
And-
we have had very few takers, however.
And says, "It's no surprise. You're implying that we don't supply the people with the medical supplies they, in fact, need to survive, which we do, by the way, regardless of what you packed worlders think."
Not.
How many crew members does your ship have?
He looks behind him and say, I mean, what would be standard for a ship this size?
way more than what we have.
Yeah.
Standard for a ship your size? You could give me. You've got that thing that
Got
lets you
piloting
know.
knowledge,
Yeah,
minus
exactly.
5 DC.
I mean,
I'm
just by
terrible at lying. So, but saying what's standard for a ship this size,
it's like 40 or something like that.
where's-
I think it's like 40.
I hope not.
Standard would be like 20 plus.
For this
Oh, I thought it was
size.
DC because I was like, huh.
No,
What were we, a heavy freighter or a bulk freighter?
it
We
is.
got a 30 with a minus 5 DC. So
I think it was a bulk freighter because we're huge, aren't we?
Yes.
So it's a minimum crew of 20.
Yeah.
But because we have the AI, it negates all of that for us.
sure, I think
Yeah,
we'll
it's
shoot
between
low
20 and 50.
and say like we have like 20. So a little bit more maybe. Actually hoping also to find some people here who might want to come assist on further humanitarian trips around the system.
Right, give me a bluff check.
Sure. Bluff check. Good.
He again gives you a grunt.
I mean, it might be better than his sense motive. You don't know.
Might also be a lower DC since it's a believable lie.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's... I can't really tell whether he believes you or not.
No, I can't do much better. So
He then says, "What professions does your crew have? How many-
Exterminators.
How many doctors and nurses and whatever are those?"
Francis,
Ooh,
well, we
automated.
were hoping to find more nurses and doctors around here. We actually don't. Says we have at least one skilled doctor. It's like looks to Lorelia, you know.
Insert medical jargon
However,
here.
we also work with the tenants that adequate care can help in many ways that are not directly surgical.
I think we can also say a lot of the menial tasks are automated.
Sure.
He gives you another grunt.
We did not expect a huge amount of people needing immediate care, more resting places. And I think again, like he was, say like Sarah and Ray teaches us to provide aid and rest for those who have not such things. And well, you could say we're acting upon the word.
Seren Ray also teaches the tenets of honor, which is not something you've given me much of so far.
He frowns slightly.
Nevertheless,
We are dishonored.
do you have guards? Protection?
Yes,
As he
of
looks
course.
at the death
We would
robot.
we would not feel safe being
Scope
around
goes right on his
without such things. Yeah, we do have.
How many? Apart from, he points to XK.
Well, he looks at XK and says, apart from XK, he also gestures like, yeah.
Two.
We did not see why more would be necessary. Unless there's...
I'm just trying to figure out a way for this all to go away, you see? It would be a huge hassle to get you processed, to get you sent up for the Admiral to take all the credit of catching smugglers again.
He nods. So you're looking for something we can do for you?
He nods. Perhaps. However, it's not going to need doctors and nurses and engineers. It's going to need, well, non-civilians. As per the Pact Worlds Alliance Charter that I'm unfortunately bound to, I cannot draft civilian. Your guards, however, do not count as such.
Interesting.
Draft?
So if perhaps all of you here would identify as non-civilian personnel and were to be willing to agree to do the odd thing or two, it's going to be dangerous, I'm not going to lie. However, it might be enough to convince me to just forget about all this. In addition to half of whatever you're smuggling.
Dangerous?
You want to help the people here, yes?
Francis is like, yes, but I did not think it would be like that.
Which the people here includes us, doesn't it?
Frowns. Looks at him.
And if you agree to do this for me, I wouldn't have to find someone else to do it for me. I can tell you the few Vesk troops I have available are very precious. We don't have much in the way of reinforcement.
I I really don't want to have to do that. I'm sure my crew wouldn't very much like that either. And I'm sure we can find a different arrangement that can satisfy everyone without you having to stretch your limited resources any further than they already are.
What else would you
Let's
offer?
be honest, we've been here for a few days and we have not found what we came looking for. If we were a smuggling ship, we certainly would have gotten rid of whatever we had and left, but we really are humanitarian. We have tried to approach the people here, but it doesn't really look like they need aid, so we were considering moving on. But sadly, some gestures around.
Give me a bluff check.
Okay. Dice are with me.
He once again grunts, whatever that means. Hesitating a bit. You do have to give me something for this all to just go away.
He nods. That much I can understand. Perhaps some process like some
How
medical
much? Perhaps supplies are always wanted. We could arrange something of appropriate value, of course, considering this incident. I would like a complete inventory of your ship, and I will decide what is appropriate.
All right.
He's probably just gonna take some medical supplies, which we have a butt ton of.
That'll take some time.
Mm.
Also, do we want the vest to have more medical supplies?
Not really. But agreeing will at least win us some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many Vesk are there in this barracks?
In this room currently, there's the general and two others. In the compound or in the building, a couple more. And in the actual West compound, there's a lot. Enough.
Frankly, I think that we could probably swing ourselves a few days of getting the inventory made for him and then given to him. So we can...
Sure, but even so, like,
What are we gonna do then?
yeah, like if we're gonna go down to the deep cities, we can't leave our ship here.
We can't take it with us. Sheep already very early said that we can't take it very far down.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we're grounded. We could
We
be...
could defy them and leave.
Well, I think his threat of shooting us out of the sky was quite...
This isn't a naval. We will lose.
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
not
maybe
gonna
we
fight
can.
them. Probably bleed
No,
low, right?
but it's not very fast either.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the dreadnought on the other side.
Yeah. Even if we did escape the shore batteries, I don't think we were going to be able to do much with the dreadnought in orbit.
Well, we have to leave within a couple days.
We do.
Oh,
Yeah,
why?
we have to get to airborne, right?
Endeavor. Yeah. I think we have more than a couple days.
I mean, frankly, it sounds like all this guy wants is something, and he'll just let us go. So I think if we just cooperate, we could just get over this quite quickly.
We do have quite a lot of medical supplies, and it actually it's not great, but
Plus, even if he took a bunch of medical supplies, it's not like his men see a huge amount of action anyway. It's not like they're running out of medical supplies.
Effectively, what would happen here mechanically is that he's going to ask for amount of medical supplies, which in turn is equivalent to amount of money taken from your sponsors, which in turn would cause you to lose loyalty.
And we don't want that because we'd lose double.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, there's no good way out.
yeah, I mean, in that case, then we'd have to refuse to give him that much medical supplies, and then it becomes a whole thing.
Well, for any amount of supplies that might be meaningful to you, I would have to contact our sponsors. We do not own the supplies upon our ship. They're owned by Pact World companies that have sponsored our trip and donated them as such. We'll have to contact them and get in contact with them. I'm sure we can relay them here, and we can have a bigger negotiation if that is what's desired.
He leans in slightly, says,
We would like to avoid anything like that because it's very bad press, however.
if you have to contact your sponsors and ask for permission, then, well, it seems I would have to do the same. And neither of us want that. This is something between you and me, and how you argue it later to your sponsor, that's something entirely.
What if you ask him what the job is? Because if it's finding following a lead to where the resistance might be or something, we could, take advantage of that.
Really
And
don't want
also
to
not lose loyalty.
working for the Vesk.
Yeah, neither do I, but
Worst
don't want
PR.
to lose loyalty. They're the worst faction to lose. It's precious.
Yeah, exactly.
Like staying under the radar for gonna have to do things we don't want to do, but it's just a choice of which one. And we can't afford to not be under the radar. We simply don't have the forces yet.
What do you think, Ari?
I don't know. To be honest, I just want to murder them all, But
That would be the
that will
conservative
probably just be a
solution.
suicide mission, So I don't know. I don't really see any good options. I definitely do not want to be seen here working for the Vesk. Feel like then we're not helping the resistance at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a
No.
hypothetical.
I feel like maybe he should just go to his stupid
His
guy.
boss.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I'm
Whatever it
coming.
is.
Well, that's what I'm coming to. Is hypothetically, we say no to all of his offers. He calls his boss. We are shipped up to the dreadnought, and we get inspected by the dreadnought. We keep our story of humanitarian effort to this world. No, and then he has no reason to say no. If he does say no to a humanitarian effort, that can be a huge PR problem for him, and we can make that quite obvious.
You don't think he'll cut script the AI on our ship to be a Vesk military something?
He doesn't need to know we have AI.
I think if we get taken that far up, they'll probably check it.
I think they'd do such an in-depth search as to search through how our computer systems work.
They'll discover we don't have crew.
Yeah, exactly.
The other option is we work for them, or we lose. We try hobo mode. We try murder hobo, everybody, which might not work, or we lose loyalty with our sponsors. None of which are great options, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think working for them would. I mean, they might not even want us to be obviously working for them anyway.
Yeah, this is a hush hush deal.
So we,
for me.
yeah, they could be like, they could give us a perfect in, and we just act as like a double agent for them, effectively.
Double, yeah.
Yeah. So working for them would actually give us something, whereas every other option seems to just fight against us.
Yeah, but the local people here already just trust us.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the thing. But
exactly.
if this Vesk commander obviously knows that they distrust the Vesk and agents that work for them, so he's not going to be like, oh yeah, here's a badge to show everybody that you're a Vesk worker.
I guess we would then move on and say, well, what's the work you need done? Perhaps that would be easier for everyone if this has to go that way.
It's a simple salvage mission. Recent test went somewhat awry, and now we've got a contaminated area that I would rather not risk my people in. If everything goes well, you'll go in there, retrieve something, go back out, and it'll be over very quickly.
What's it about?
I don't think you need to know that. Suffice to say, you will not be getting into contact with any locals or need to do anything that might offend your sensitive pact world moral.
If we don't know what we're supposed to find, then how will we bring it back?
Oh, you will be told what to find once you agree.
Yeah.
It seems like we have no choice.
Oh, you have plenty of choices.
I want to bitch make this guy so fucking bad.
We will.
One day.
I think we're just gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
Seems so.
He nods to that with a slight smile and says, report back here in 3 days. You will be given proper equipment, of course. I will not have anyone accuse me of not equipping my people properly. You'll see it'll be just fine. And then all of this will be forgotten and you can carry on whatever it is you're doing.
All right.
And during those few days, are we still restricted?
You're grounded, obviously. Wouldn't want to have you leave.
Let's get it over with then.
He nods and stands up. Very well. You are very lucky, you have to know. The alternative of having you arrested and shipped off into a prison somewhere, I can assure you would be far less.
What's his name? Does he have like a name tag?
You've heard him being referred to as General Norvok.
Great.
Good.
On the list.
God, if he's a general, it means that he has a lot of guys under his command.
Yeah,
Just
they
no.
get out of the barracks and blow it up.
Once we get our power armor.
Fuck the power armor. Let's go get that giant eel leviathan that eats
I still want power
ships.
now, even with the eel.
Mhm.
It's true. We can ride it into combat.
I will ride it into combat. It is clearly
The
mine.
thing is that the eel would eat the cities below the surface. That's not okay.
Who knows?
That's true.
As far as the rumors you collected about the Leviathan in the depths were, they didn't really mention any danger to the Voyokans themselves.
It's perfect.
What was the danger to them?
Well, the rumors went in different ways. It's supposedly so large that it wouldn't care about the tiny settlement. And the cities that it would care about, the floating cities, they're all on land where the thing can't reach. So that's fine.
Hmm.
Well, at least you have a way of getting some underwater equipment. Something.
All right. You are dismissed.
All right.
Right. I guess we go back to our ship.
Yeah, the crowd that has been watching over the proceedings with the Vesk at the ship's door has dispersed at this point. Because people think it has been handled. And you don't see the reporter lady again in the same spot either.
Mhm.
You do, however, notice that while there were previously only like a handful, 4 in total, Vesk guards at the landing pads, they seem to now have been reinforced with Voyokans wearing the same armor.
What happened to the pack world saying they couldn't?
They can't conscript them, but they are allowed to
They
be
can't take away their
recruited.
They're-
food. They don't get any unless they join the army.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they're
can be
volunteering.
recruited.
Drafting civilians is illegal, but heavily incentivizing them to join voluntarily is
You'll
fine.
be beaten every day for 6 hours until you join the army, but it's voluntary to join the army.
It's pressing them into service. It's
But at least it gives us a potential future allies who are trained to use guns.
Yep. And also with a grievance, you know. Yeah. Hasbro will head back to the ship once the sun is behind him. That if anyone were to look at the ship, they would be blinded by it. And also, I'll let you know that I bought the assassin stalker rifle so that it can be broken down, hidden. I'm not,
Okay.
I'm gonna go to bed.
understandable.
Unless we're having it. Unless there's a talk that needs to be had, but we have 3 days to do it, so Ezra needs some sleep.
Yeah.
Suppose the next day we'll have to go do this thing.
No, didn't he say it was gonna be
3
3
days.
days?
Yeah, in 3 days.
I
Days.
don't know what we're
So-
supposed to do in that time, to be honest.
Yeah. And we also don't have the underwater equipment. So, question is there anything we can do in 3? I suppose it'd be good to gather some room. Like,
I will help
Try-
you a bit with that because not too distant in the future, perhaps like the next day, you will be approached by 2 separate groups of Voyokans sort of slinking over to your ship. One of them is just one individual looking for Zachriel specifically, saying that he knows that Zachriel has talked to someone who promised to, get back to him. That's a thing that is a bit worrisome for everyone involved, and maybe that's something you could do to help. Specifically, he explains to you that there's a few overeager Voyokans who are planning to attack a patrol in the Gate district, or at least at the gate of the city soon, and that needs to be stopped because that's going to rile up the Vesk and just be overall bad for everyone involved. He knows which patrol they are targeting, but he doesn't know where those Voyokans would be hanging out in the meantime. He also doesn't know exactly when it's going to happen, but presumably tomorrow, somewhere around noon.
All right. We'll have to find them. Does he know who they are?
He does not know. They're probably with whatever calls itself the city's resistance of the floatborn around these parts, which is just a bunch of overeager, naive freedom seekers who really don't know what they're doing and are just making things worse.
All right.
how did he learn about it?
What did you say?
How did he come to this information?
That is inconsequential.
Oh. Uh-huh.
He's just a messenger. He doesn't even know.
Bullshit detector, please.
Give me a sense motive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that as well. Seems if
Is something. I get my time. 26.
Yeah,
25.
he is just a messenger, but he does know. You're pretty sure. This has the feel of like a test. Are you with us or no?
I see. I'll give him the look that shows that we clearly know, but we'll play along anyway. We understand.
Yeah, he's not really hiding the fact. It's like, here's something you could do to prove that you are in fact
Yeah.
here to help us.
Uh-huh. Very well then.
So we're gonna have to go find some people.
Yeah, but how are we supposed to find them?
You
That's the test.
will be, or you are told which patrol they are targeting. So if you watch that patrol, you can most likely, hopefully, spot the ones wanting to attack them if you are observant.
Sure.
Mhm.
I did say a second group of Voyokans was going to approach you as well. A group which is actually looking for Lorelia and Haya. It's a pair, a familiar pair, in fact, as they were the
Ah.
almost, so to speak, bodyguards of the singular person that is actually approached and talked to you in your stand. They're saying, well, you said you're here to help people. Here's a way how you could help us. Tomorrow around noon, we're planning to attack a patrol in the gate. If you will join us, we could attack even more and do a bit more carnage there and really show the West that we are not to be trifled with. So if you're into that, well, tell us now.
Oh, that made the first job easy.
Actually, they won't they won't put you on the spot. They will tell you that if you're interested, just show up at your little medicine stand again tomorrow, roughly around dawn, so you have enough time to be approached and get ready.
I'm assuming he's saying this while we're all standing here.
Yeah, he's talking to all of you, sure.
Right.
What is the hope to accomplish by this mission, if I may?
Well, the Vesk need to be shown that the Voyokan people will fight until they're gone. There's only so many Vesks, and there's far more Voyokans. So if the Voyokans here are shown that resistance is, in fact, not futile, the tables might just turn.
Liz, you have a noble cause, and one that instinctually almost anyone would agree with. Don't get me wrong there, but how you're going about it, it's not the right way. If you want to get someone, you have to let them relax. You have to make them think they've won. Meanwhile, you plan more attacks, all of which have simultaneously crush them before they even know anything. Right now, they're strong. They're watching. You have to let them think that you're under their heel and then strike. I understand what you're doing, but if you do this, you're only going to cause more harm to your people than you will to the Vesk. And you'll strengthen their number and make future missions much harder.
The speaker of the two Voyokans sort of shakes his head, raising his hands in sort of a gesture of deflection. He says, "Hey, I'm just the messenger. There's an offer for you to show that you're with us. If you don't take it, well, either you're not with us or you are against us."
That's
They're expecting it.
We're better off aligning with the actual resistance.
Well, we don't want these people to die.
yeah. I can't physically stop you, but I don't want you to get hurt. And I want to win. You don't win by taking every moment when you first have it. You gather.
How about
Soften up your enemy. But if you insist on doing this, then
they take us to the people they are delivering the message for?
Mm-hmm. That'd be good.
Take us to your leaders, not going to work. We will contact you, not the other way.
Well, tell them that we suspect that there might be something else going on with this patrol. We would love to share this knowledge, but we'll have to meet them.
We need bigger fish.
we can do it not facing them or to feel safe. But if you're the messenger, pass that message along.
Well, the two assure you that they will report on what you have said to them to the higher ups. But as they said, make yourselves available tomorrow, roughly around dawn, in the market somewhere, and you will be approached.
Guess that's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll have to convince them that the Vesk are expecting it or something like that. I'm figuring.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Though again, Zachary's a terrible liar, so.
I was gonna say, like,
We could just make it the truth.
needing Lorelia here. Lorelia, well, he used to have Astral back.
If they want to plan something that and actually do something, then that's great. But random guerrilla attacks is futile.
But yeah, I think that'll be where we stop for today.
All right.
Okay.
A very, very talky session. Such is life in
Mhm.
Sandbox City. Well, it's not sandbox-ish. It's a city.
I love how the one interaction my non-talky character gets is with someone he can't talk to. So good. But I love the session. It was good.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do we expect to do it again next week?
I hope so. Yes.
Valky
Next
should be
week
back.
we'll have Valky back. We'd have a full house.
Yep.
Wow.
How do I switch tabs on Firefox? That's how. Sorry, I can't use my mouse, so keyboard shortcuts. Apparently, Control Tab works really well.
Let's see. It was a very talky session. However, I think it was talky enough that you can consider yourselves level 5.
Level 5?
You're only 700 something off.
Yep.
10,000.
And learning about things, which is hopefully what happened this sessions, it's definitely rewarded as well.
Can I learn Wheelkin?
Sure. I mean, as per the rules, all you need to do is get a point of culture.
Yeah, but I
And
mean,
He's been working on it for a while now.
Yeah, sure.
I started learning gold trick.
I mean, it's been several days, and I am a robot, so
Just given a
Yeah.
dictionary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
try these.
Language processed.
At least it seems like the Vesk will give us equipment to go do their
Yeah.
work.
Go
Yeah.
do their bidding.
Who knows what we'll
Yeah,
find.
the Vesk cornering you is definitely a direct consequence of first avoiding the Vesk and then landing your big ass ship right next to the Vesk control city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really other places
I
to
didn't remember
land.
that thing we did. Like, punches.
I
Yeah,
don't-
we did.
But of course now, I know, but I didn't think of it.
Oh, what was the... Oh, I forgot the feat I was going to take.
Get a feat.
Yeah, of course I get a feat. I'm a soldier.
But we get 5th level, right? We get primary style technique.
Yeah, we still get a feat.
A standard feat.
Standard feat, yeah.
Any power armor ability. I don't have a power armor. It's only a matter of time, I'm sure.
No, I believe the one that we have was going to go to...
Makes sense to get the melee character first.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You can put it on now.
I know.
After all this time.
Motherfuckers, I'm punching them in the face.
What armor does...
Do we get stat upgrade now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
you-
so. Yeah.
Level 5's a big level up for us.
I'll kill all the Vesk.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time we'll have the full group.
I believe so.
And that'll be great.
Yay.
Yay.
What do we actually get? Feat and the first ability score increase.
It's really...
Which is
I don't know what I'm going to put, actually, for mine.
4 ability scores to increase. Yeah.
It's kind of awkward.
This thing is 2, you don't increase.
It's kind of awkward what to put, because if I use power armor in the future, my strength is limited. Dex is limited already. Constitution is a very negligible amount.
I mean, con is good.
Con is
Like,
good.
Of course.
I mean, I am gonna get con, but then, yeah, the others, I don't know.
int, more skill points. It's not bad.
Yeah.
So it's +2 to 4 abilities unless they were already set plus. In
Yep.
that case, it's +1. Okay. That's neat.
Mm. A poor sheet. Working so hard to cope. There we go. Efficiency. Got my my new ability now. I can add my strength score when I full round attack with a heavy weapon to the damage.
Nice.
Just a couple more damage, which is
It's good.
don't think it counts with grenades. Maybe that would be nice. I can review it. Seems weird that you could brace for grenades. Holding the grenade really steady.
It's like a baseball player throwing the ball.
You can make a weapon
Pitcher.
as a whole. You can make a single ranged attack that deals additional damage to all targets. You can use it with automatic explode on wheel. I mean, it doesn't say you can't do it. It just, I guess, it just seems weird.
Yeah. I want to
I guess you could do it with a laser pistol technically, but
just mention, because my strength goes up by 1 modifier. My to hit with advanced melee weapons is now +12.
Is that with or without my
That's just standard. That's without anything.
alright, and now we need skills.
Because I know you have
More
macro ability.
languages spoken in our little place. I need to look.
Here's an exciting thing. I'm going to multi-class.
Really?
Yes. I'm going to take a level of soldier,
Interesting.
which I was already planning on doing, but finally I sniped with it.
Guys, what languages do you think are valuable?
What do you
Languages.
already have?
Hmm?
What do you already have?
I have
Because you have a lot.
Common, Celestial, Vesk, Draconic, Voyokon, and Goran.
Let's
Those
do
are
it.
pretty applicable.
You know what I'm gonna get?
Uh,
And it's going to be insanity. But
mhm.
I'm gonna get perception with my new intelligence.
Oh my.
Cheap, can I just
Insanity. I know.
not think about the language now, but
Yeah, that's fine.
begin studying one when something comes up? Because
Like your character would probably know what to
yeah,
study.
I don't like. Basically, he's refreshing up on things that are relevant to the Empire, right?
I know what I'm doing.
But I don't actually remember.
I mean, you
Exactly.
covered pretty much all the languages at this point.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Okay.
Do the people Widow have their own? I can't remember what we decided for them.
The what?
The planet Widow that the shipyards above.
I don't think that has
I
anything.
don't
though.
believe. I think it's barren.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I believe so.
Is Valky skilled in mysticism?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
literally his character.
'Cause then I'm not
He
gonna
is this
bother, you
fantastic.
know? Like, I have very few skill points.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Widow was described as a planet that a frozen planet that was in the process of being terraformed by heating it up with solar rays. All of that. Well, that was. It did have cities, but I don't think we ever defined that properly. Who lived there? If
I
there were
believe they're
natives or
in colonies,
colonies, sure.
so they're more of the Asmar.
Yeah.
In that case, I cannot think of a good language. I don't know, Shirin maybe? I guess we do more swarm stuff.
But do they speak in telepathy most of the time?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I'll just
I
have it
don't
there
know.
for now and just think about it.
Text
Oh,
and
shit.
such is sure enough.
That's something I can get. Enhanced resistance. That's like
Pretty good.
the
damn good.
best. I'm getting that. That's
Buff robot.
the feat I'm gonna take. And configure it for kinetic damage. Using the sweet Hero Labs. Do it. So that I can just transfer it over. Languages I put Terran, but it's Wayokan, but I don't. Not in the group.
My God, I now roll D20 plus 13.
I know what I mean. I'll just write it into XK's file.
Saves.
That's resistant. I probably spelt that terribly. Also get another language because... Oh god, I get 2 languages in this. Fuck.
Yeah, good.
Take Goran.
Got Goran too.
And
No.
actually all chat.
No, I'm
No.
going... Actually, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Part of me says Aquan, just to be fun.
I mean, do the deep-born Voyokans speak the same language?
Yeah.
They speak Viatoran as well. And Aquan is surely never going to be relevant in a ocean planet.
No, never.
True.
It's true.
More like Chef Pierre in that second session we did. That was great.
Is it called Aquan in this one too?
Yeah, it's plain our language, Aquan. Maybe I should collect the planar languages, like I started with Rith at some point. You know what? It's fun and interesting.
Yeah, a machine learning of planar languages.
Yep. I am a machine of the sea. That's wrong. It's stupid. Oh, actually, so I can delete that. So, what I have gained is hit points. A lot of hit points, actually. I now sit at...
What's your soldier style power?
Oh yeah, we get that, don't we? I forgot about that.
Yeah, I have 3 soldiers.
Here we go to soldier. Oh, guard's protection. That's what I get. As my part of my primary fighting style. So as a reaction, I can transfer half of damage from an adjacent ally to myself.
Nice.
Take.
That's a really
That seems like a good thing to mix with the damage reduction.
Yeah. Which,
You can absorb some, reduce it, and then keep
yeah.
use it as much as possible.
And now my hit points are... Stamina is up to 50, And hit points are up to 37.
Yep, I'm not quite there. I've got the con. Because I also gotta have dex to shoot.
Yeah.
My DC was up.
So, as a cower, I agree. XK does not need power armor. He becomes power armor.
True.
Eri,
Yes.
Yes.
the armor that you are discarding for your power armor, what is it?
It's light armor.
Oh, light armor.
You should keep it then. You can still wear it under the power armor
Yeah,
for when you're not
that's
in
Yeah.
power
why
armor.
I have not bought any other.
Makes sense.
Because I'm with my armor, my light armor, whatever, will not work in a heavy armor. So, you know.
Makes sense. You know what, I'll do my token next time.
That's done. What?
I've got too many things to update. I have 4 macros for each of my melee weapons, so. Because I have normal attack, full attack, normal attack with Azrael bonuses, and full attack with Azrael bonuses. So. Because now with Azrael's bonuses, I will have a plus 17 to hit on a normal attack.
I watched the recording of the last session a few days ago. I was like, oh man,
I missed you, man.
this
Yeah.
single large target is what I was built for. And I wasn't there.
It's what our combination was built for.
Yeah.
Our gloriousness would have shined like a beacon.
You still managed to pull it off.
Not a
Barely.
chance. If you're gonna steal some big power armor off some Vesk, then I mean they're probably gonna be landing in it, right?
What we need. Need power armor.
Oh, hey Sheep, can you describe those Vesk again that were in that bank? I'm going to show them a picture of that. That thing was terrifying.
I have a picture.
What?
Well, thanks.
They're also here.
Thanks everybody for watching. We will see you next week for another session, provided nothing goes wrong.
Fingers crossed.
Bye.
I dropped the token next to you.
If
Imagine that, but with a helmet.
if you ever want to know if it's being cancelled, we are actually starting to put things in our session schedule chat on our Discord server, where the link is in the description.
Okay.
So you can join us for that. Goodbye,
Yeah,
everybody.
good looking